Rick Adair sets the Axemen lineup as follows. Colin Larson is the left fielder leading off. Mason Swinney is the shortstop. Ben Tryon is at third base. Derek Pitts, the designated hitter, bats cleanup. Landis Davila is in center field. Jace Rusine is the catcher. P.J. Jones is at first base, batting seventh. Phoenix McFarland is at second base, batting eighth. And Alex Kelsey, the right fielder, bats ninth for the Axemen. The Flyboys, usually managed by Jack Wilson, but he is in Atlanta with his son Jacob, the All-Star game tonight at 8 o'clock on Fox. The Flyboys tonight will be managed by Jared Miller, their usual third base coach, and their lineup is as follows. Reed Hare is the center fielder. Jace Patton is at shortstop, batting second. Ezra McNaughton is at first base, batting third. Lane Akers is the designated hitter. Brady Francisco is the catcher for the Flyboys. Peyton Miller is at third base. Grant Hunter is the left fielder. TJ Adams is in right field. And rounding out the Greenville lineup at second base is Tyler Inge. We've got an intriguing pitching matchup here in Greenville tonight. The home nine will turn to Braxton Lewis. Lewis is usually a reliever for the Flyboys, so I don't know how long his start will go. We saw the Flyboys use an opener last week in Danville when A.J. Diaz pitched the first inning and Jake Kennedy followed with the next five. But Lewis is on the mound for the 12th time this season. This will be only his second start for the Flyboys. Lewis, a Tennessee native, plays his college ball at Tennessee Tech, has allowed 13 earned runs, 16 hits, and 5 walks in 10 1/3 innings. He's struck out 14 batters. Kingsport will counter with one of the best starting pitchers in the Appy League. It's Ronan Vicente. Vicente, so far this season, leads the Axemen with 25 innings pitched. He's allowed just 7 earned runs, 19 hits, 6 walks, and 28 strikeouts for the man out of Johnson City Community College. That's an ERA of 2.5, and his whip, 1 flat. Opponents are hitting just .204 against Vicente this season. He is one of the toughest arms on the mound in the Appy League, and that is who the Flyboys will have to contend with to start this game. So if you're Greenville, you're thinking, okay, we've got to run this guy's pitch count up and get to the Axemen bullpen. So happy to have you with us. Colin Larson will be followed by Mason Swinney and Ben Tryon. The Axemen, with their lineup set by Rick Adair, a lot of lefties in this lineup, which makes a lot of sense given that Braxton Lewis is a right-handed pitcher. Larson, Tryon, Landis Davila, P.J. Jones, and Alex Kelsey are all true left-handed hitters, and they alternate throughout the lineup. Lewis is on the rubber. Larson in the left-handed batter's box. The first pitch from Lewis misses outside, and we are underway at 7 o'clock. As is the norm in this part of the country this time of year. Very hot during the day, but the temperature cooling into the mid-80s for first pitch. 1-0 on Larson. Braxton Lewis winds and deals. Larson takes a strike. And the Flyboys are coming off a plus 500 road trip. They went 3-2 in 5 games, facing Elizabethton, followed by Danville and Burlington. Here's the 1-1. Larson hits a high chopper to the right side. That ball is foul. Tyrell Harris, the first base coach, was pointing toward the foul side of the first base line, much like the field umpire Marcus DeCiso. Ezra McNaughton was there to make the play. So Larson has new life, but it's 1-2. Larson will take a second to catch his breath. We've got some light wind blowing out to straightaway left field here at Pioneer Park. You don't usually see the wind play that much of a factor in the flight path of fly balls, though. Lewis gets the sign from Brady Francisco. Here's the pitch. Swinging another high chopper to the right side. This is fair. Tyler Inge, the second baseman, makes a strong throw to Ezra McNaughton, and Larson is gone to start the game. And that is a very dangerous leadoff man the Flyboys just dispatched of. Larson entering tonight, his on-base percentage is .504, which is 6th among all qualified Appy League hitters. Now stepping in is the shortstop, Mason Swinney. Swinney, another guy with an on-base over 400. Lewis fires. Right-handed batter takes low. Lewis has a bright red glove on his left hand. Mason Swinney, a red barrel on his bat. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swinney takes low. Lewis missing with a couple of fastballs. The Flyboys catcher tonight is Brady Francisco. Peyton Miller is at third base. Jace Patton is the shortstop. Tyler Inge and Ezra McNaughton on the right side of the infield. 2-0 as Lewis delivers. Foul back. Grant Hunter is the left fielder for Greenville. Reed Hare is in center, and in right is TJ Adams. Flyboys have not played a home game in 9 days, so I'm sure they're happy to be back here at Pioneer Park. 2-1 on Mason Swinney. Here's the pitch from Lewis. A fastball right on the inside corner for strike 2. Flyboys back in their cream-colored home uniforms. Flyboys across the front in navy. Red and white outline for them. Lewis looking for the strikeout. Here's the 2-2. Breaking ball, a knee buckler. And Swinney's gone on strikes. Swinney caught looking at the off-speed pitch there as Lewis froze him on the slider. That pitch started at the front hip of the right-handed hitter. Ended up right on the inside corner. Here's Ben Tryon now. Left-handed batting third baseman. The pitch from Lewis misses low. Kingsport in its orange tops with white lettering and numerals. The traveling gray pants for them. 1-0 on Ben Tryon. Here's the pitch from Lewis. Inside. We're scoreless here at Pioneer Park. Flyboys hosting the Kingsport Axemen. Base is empty, 2 gone in the top of the first. Tryon on the season, hitting .329 with a slugging percentage over 500. And that's something you'll see in a couple different spots in the Kingsport lineup tonight. Here's the 2-0. Tryon takes a changeup for a strike. Kingsport is the only team in the Appy League with a slugging percentage over 400. Now, there are 3 or 4 teams with a slug of about 390, one of whom is the Flyboys. Here's the 2-1. Tryon takes a strike at the knees. He turns to the home plate umpire, Zach Bloom, and says, "Was that at the bottom of the zone?" And Zach Bloom says, "Yes, sir." But Kingsport, an OPS above 900 at home, that's really where the Axemen do their damage. 2-2 on Tryon. Here's the pitch. Inside. Lewis missed with the fastball. That was on the inside chalk to the left-handed hitter. Kingsport having a good run of form, 7-3 over its last 10 games. A deep breath and the 3-2 to Tryon. Swung on and fouled off toward the first base dugout. The shadows will play a bit of a factor in the twilight hours here in Greenville. The mound and the plate are both in the shade, but the batter's eye is in the sun. 3-2 on Tryon as Lewis delivers. Tryon hits a sharp grounder foul past third. The third base coach down there taking a look at it. That ball trickles all the way toward the corner. One of the Kingsport relievers has to go out of the bullpen to get it. Mike Policastro is down there at third. Here's another 3-2. Tryon takes strike 3 on the inside corner. Braxton Lewis with a 1-2-3 first inning, a pair of strikeouts, both of them looking against the upper third of this dangerous Axemen lineup. After a half inning, Axemen nothing, Greenville coming to bat on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Scoreless after a half inning here at Pioneer Park. The Greenville Flyboys hosting the Kingsport Axemen on a sunny and warm Tuesday evening in mid-July. Happy All-Star Game evening to those of you who celebrate. The Major League Baseball All-Star Game getting underway in just about an hour. That's where Flyboys manager Jack Wilson is on account of his son Jacob Wilson getting the starting nod for the American League. Here in Greenville, the Flyboys will have to contend with a very tough starting pitcher here tonight. Ronan Vicente out of Johnson County Community College. One of the league's best. He leads Kingsport in innings, and the Flyboys have happened upon him on the date where he is due to pitch. Vicente, 25 innings, 7 earned runs allowed. Opponents hitting just over 200 against the righty. Reed Hare, a left-handed batter, digs in. First pitch, hit in the air, foul toward the third base side and out of play. The Flyboys with just 2 lefties in their lineup. We'll see both of them in this inning. Hare leading off, and then Ezra McNaughton due up third. Jace Patton is on deck for the Flyboys. The wind and the 0-1 to Hare. Floats up and outside from Vicente. Vicente in his freshman season at Johnson County Community College. As he comes back with the 1-1, outside again. Didn't see that many innings. In fact, tonight he will more than double the innings he pitched in his freshman season. 2-0 misses outside, or the 2-1, I should say. It's now 3-1 on the Flyboys' leadoff man, Reed Hare. Vicente with just 13 1/3 at Johnson County, but the strikeout numbers were impressive. Here's the 3-1. Hare hits a fly ball foul over the third base dugout. Nearly 13 strikeouts per 9 innings, though he had an ERA just over 4. He was good at preventing base runners, which all of those things have bared out here. Here's the 3-2 to Reed Hare. Swinging another foul ball toward the left side. Vicente, a very tall right-handed pitcher, standing at 6'4", and he works quickly. He's ready to go before Hare steps back in. Another 3-2 on the way. Hare hits another foul ball, foul toward the third base side and out of play. And that's something you'll see a lot of pitchers do at all levels of baseball, is be on the rubber, ready to go as soon as the batter steps in. Here's another payoff pitch. Hare hits a weak pop fly to the left side. The shortstop, Mason Swinney, can't find it, but that's okay for him because the third baseman, Ben Tryon, can. He makes the catch where the sun meets the shade, and Hare is gone. Mentioned that the sun and shadows might be a problem in the twilight hours. The infield grass is in the shade, but the base path between second and third is where the sun starts to peek out over the overhang. Base is empty, 1 gone. Scoreless in the bottom of the first, and here's Jace Patton. The first pitch, a breaking ball that misses outside from Vicente. Patton at shortstop for the Flyboys here this evening. We saw him in left field against Danville a few nights ago. Here's the 1-0. Patton is brushed off the plate by an inside fastball. Brought his hands close to his chest there, making sure he got out of the way of that one. Vicente ready to go once again. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Patton takes a high fastball. And the reason that you'll see pitchers do that, pitching so quickly, is to make sure that hitters can't really get comfortable. 3-0 pitch is a get-me-over fastball for a strike from Vicente. But as a pitcher, you don't want to go too fast because you could either tire yourself out. Here's the 3-1. Patton hits a fly ball toward the right side. That ball is out of play. So Vicente has worked the count back full after falling behind 3-0. But pitchers don't want to let hitters get comfortable in the box. You want to keep them on their heels, and that's what Vicente is trying to do here. 3-2. Here's the payoff pitch. Patton hits a chopper back to the mound. Vicente waits on it, scoops it up, throws on to first, and Patton is retired. So both Flyboys hitters to the plate so far have worked full counts, but they've had nothing to show for it. Base is empty, 2 out. Bottom of the first for Ezra McNaughton, the left-handed slugger out of BYU, who is one of the Appy League's premier hitters in just about every measurable category. So this is a matchup to watch here tonight. First pitch from Vicente at the knees for a strike. Fastball on the inside part of the plate. And Vicente is up to 93 miles per hour in the early going. McNaughton waiting on the 0-1. Here's the pitch. A breaking ball that misses inside. McNaughton, top 6 in the Appy League in batting average, on base, slugging. He leads the league in home runs, second in RBIs. Everywhere you look, he fills up the stat sheet. Here's the 1-1. McNaughton takes a slider low and inside. Leading the league in OPS, slugging, home runs, second in RBIs, and 10th in stolen bases as well. Here's the 2-1 pitch. McNaughton takes low and in. That's ball 3. One of a handful of guys in the league with an on-base percentage over 500. Colin Larson, the Kingsport leadoff man, is another one of those. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Inside, and that's ball 4. A 2-out walk issued by Ronan Vicente. Scoreless here in the bottom of the first. And the batter is the cleanup man, Lane Akers.
Now, batting for the Flyboys, number 20, Lane Akers.
Akers has also played a variety of positions, just like Jace Patton. We've seen him behind the plate. We've seen him at first base and in the outfield as well. Base runners may be at a premium against Ronan Vicente, so we'll see if McNaughton takes off. Here's the pitch. Akers takes a strike. A fastball at the knees. The Flyboys up to 77 stolen bases through 31 games entering tonight. That is tops in the league. A throw over to first. McNaughton is safe. It's a quick pickoff move from Vicente. P.J. Jones is holding McNaughton over at first base. 0-1 on Akers. Here it comes. Up and in. Akers turns out of the way. The catcher, Jace Rusey, leaping out of his crouch. Ben Tryon is the third baseman. Mason Swinney, the shortstop. And Phoenix McFarland at second. Vicente up to 21 pitches already. Here's its 1-1. Up and in again. Vicente testing out his footing near the landing zone at the front of the mound, digging out some dirt. Colin Larson is in left field, Landis Davila in center, and Alex Kelsey is in right for Kingsport. 2-1 on Akers. Here's the pitch. Akers hits a high fly ball to shallow right field. Alex Kelsey coming in, McFarland going out, and Kelsey makes the catch, coming toward the infield as the two of them nearly collide, but avoid any contact. Vicente strands a 2-out walk, but he needed 23 pitches to do it, and that is good for the Flyboys as they look to get this talented starting pitcher out of the game sooner rather than later. Greenville and Kingsport scoreless after 1 on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Welcome back to Pioneer Park. The Flyboys and the Kingsport Axemen scoreless after an inning. Braxton Lewis retired the side in order in the top of the first, struck out a pair, both of them looking, and we'll see what he can do against the middle third of the Kingsport order here tonight. It's Derek Pitts, followed by Landis Davila and Jace Rusey. Pitts, one of the Appy League's more dangerous hitters, and again, you can say that about a lot of hitters in this Kingsport lineup. As a team, the Axemen have an OPS of 853, which is nearly 50 points higher than anyone else in the league. First pitch to Pitts, a slider that misses low and away from Braxton Lewis. Pitts with an OPS just shy of 1,000. Usually we see him in the outfield, but tonight he is the designated hitter. Here's the 1-0. A breaking ball at the knees for a strike. Pitts joining Kingsport by way of Cincinnati, the home of the Bearcats. 1-1 as Lewis deals. And Pitts takes outside. Fastball missing. Cincinnati just had the city, not the school. The city of Cincinnati had a high-profile draft pick selected on night number 1. 2-1 on Pitts. Lewis winds and deals. And Pitts takes low and away. The heater missing. Devin Taylor, the outfielder from Indiana, was selected in the second round. Taylor played his high school ball at LaSalle in Cincinnati. Selected by the Athletics. Here's the 3-1. Pitts takes an outside strike. He dropped the bat and was beginning to take off his shin guard to head toward first base. That pitch looked like it was off the plate. But Zach Bloom says the count's 3-2. Lewis, a deep breath. And here's the payoff. Pitts hits a foul ball over the first base dugout. Taylor spent 3 seasons at Indiana, joining the Hoosiers coming from the city of Cincinnati. The only game he ever played at the home of the Bearcats, he hit a home run that landed on the street just across from the basketball arena. 3-2 is fouled back by Pitts. That was his freshman season in 2023. Cincinnati was supposed to make the return trip last season, 2024. So I guess now 2 years ago, which, wow, that's weird. But the game was ultimately canceled due to inclement weather. 3-2 on Pitts. Here it comes. Breaking ball inside. Now Pitts gets to take off the shin guard and walk toward first base. Leadoff man aboard. We're scoreless here in the top of the second. Greenville and Kingsport from Pioneer Park. And the batter is Landis Davila. Another left-handed hitter in this Kingsport lineup. The Axemen have 5 of them, and then Jace Rusine, the man on deck, is a switch hitter. So matchup nightmares for Flyboys pitching throughout this game. Lewis from the stretch. Here's the pitch. Davila takes a high fastball. That's ball 1. Davila out of Mississippi State. There's an Indiana connection there, too. Chris Lamonis, who was the Indiana head coach in the late 2010s, 1-0. Davila checks his swing. It's a called strike. Outside fastball, and it's 1-1. Chris Lamonis joined Mississippi State from Indiana prior to the 2019 season. He was replaced by Jeff Mercer, who still leads Indiana baseball. Pitts leading off of first. A throw over there, and it almost gets away. McNaughton reaching to grab it. No tag, as Pitts is safe. Pitts is one of the league's best base stealers. 12 of 13. He's 10th among all Appy League players. 1-1 on Davila. Here's the pitch. Davila takes up and in. Leaning out of the way of the fastball. Only 2 batters into this second inning. But Kingsport is already making Braxton Lewis work a bit harder than he had to in the first when he retired the side in order. A couple of strikeouts, both of them looking in that frame. Here's the 2-1. Davila takes in the dirt, blocked by Brady Francisco. Pitts bluffed a couple of steps towards second base right there. Looked in to see whether Francisco blocked it successfully, and then retreated back to first. But Indiana had a couple high-profile draft selections. We mentioned Devin Taylor, the Cincinnati native, and then Corbin Dickerson, another outfielder. 3-1 on Davila. Here's the pitch. A fastball on the outside part of the plate, and the count is full. Vicente, the Kingsport starter, issued full counts to each of the first 2 hitters he faced in the last half inning. Lewis has done the same here in the top of the second. Looking to retire Davila. Here's the 3-2. Swing and a miss on the fastball. 3 strikeouts in the first 5 batters faced for Braxton Lewis. And you didn't know how Lewis was going to fare, given that he's usually a reliever. But so far, so good for the Flyboys starter. Man at first, 1 away. We're scoreless in the top of the second. And the batter now is the switch hitter for Kingsport, Jace Rusine. He'll dig in from the left side here. Flyboys have been good at turning double plays as of late. Let's see if they can get another one here. The pitch in the dirt, blocked by Francisco once again. And Rusine has always stood out behind the plate. because since he's out of Boston College, he's got red and muted yellow catcher's gear and protective equipment as well, which contrasts well with his orange jersey. 1-0. A fastball for a strike. But it's a very unique color combination. I feel like anytime you try to mix other colors with orange outside of blue, like the Axemen have, it always draws your eye. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it certainly stands out. 1-1 on Rusine. Here's the pitch. A fastball that misses outside. Corbin Dickerson, we mentioned he was also drafted out of Indiana. A guy who transferred in from Louisville, which is not too far from Cincinnati either. And Dickerson was one of the best hitters in the Big Ten. Nearly 20 home runs for him. They've got the runner leaning off first, and Lewis picked him off. Pitts shuffled towards second a couple times. We mentioned his speed. Lewis threw over there right as Pitts was shuffling, and Ezra McNaughton tagged him out. That's the second out of the inning. Score at 1-3 on the pickoff. That is a big second out here in the top of inning number 2. Lewis back in the windup with the bases clear. Here's the 2-1. Rusine takes low and away. That pitch was a ball off the plate at the knees. Lewis has gotten calls already in this game on pitches further outside than that. The home plate umpire, Zach Bloom, stayed in his crouch for a while. 3-1 on Rusine. Here it comes. Swing and a miss. That pitch, the exact same spot east-west, but a little bit higher, and Rusine went after it. So now the count is full. 3 full counts in this second inning. Let's see if Lewis can end the frame right here after the pickoff. The wide and the 3-2 pitch. Swinging a foul ball back to the screen. But Devin Taylor picked up by the Athletics. Dickerson by the Mariners. So a couple guys heading out west. I'm sure they'll enjoy the extra couple hours of sleep, at least until they get adjusted to it. Here's another 3-2. Rusine hits a slow roller to second. Tyler Inge is up with it. Sidearm throw is in time, and Rusine is gone to end the inning. Lewis picks off the leadoff walk and retires the other 2 men harmlessly. After an inning and a half, Flyboys and Kingsport scoreless from Pioneer Park on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Welcome back to Pioneer Park. Bottom of the second between the Flyboys and the Kingsport Axemen. Nick Rotocap with you here on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Ronan Vicente getting set for his second frame of work. He worked around a 2-out walk in the first, but he's already thrown a lot of pitches. Over 20 just in the first inning alone. And for a starter as good as he's been, with an ERA under 3 in 25 innings so far this season, the Flyboys are off to a good start in making Vicente labor on the hill. It'll be 5, 6, 7 due up in the Greenville order here. Brady Francisco, Peyton Miller, and Grant Hunter as Greenville looks to open the scoring. The Flyboys starting pitcher Braxton Lewis has been fantastic through 2 innings. So Greenville, I'm sure, looking to get the bats going. It was a unique 2-game series against the Burlington Sock Puppets last weekend. The Flyboys scored 17 runs in the series opener on Saturday and then were shut out in the 7-inning Sunday game. First pitch to Francisco. A fastball for a strike. Vicente loves to work quickly. Francisco takes a second, but Vicente is already set on the mound. Francisco now back in. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Francisco takes a slider downstairs. Francisco's offensive attack has been rather unique throughout the season. Francisco taking his time between pitches. An on base of 480. Here's the 1-1. A fastball at the knees, and that's strike 2. Even though his batting average is only .204, and he's only got 1 extra base hit. But he's been swinging it better as of late. He had a double against Elizabethton last week. Here's the 1-2. A breaking ball downstairs. Vicente shakes his head, I think, to himself. That pitch was about shin high from the right-hander. The third baseman, Ben Tryon, is hugging the line over there. Here's the 2-2. Fastball that gets past Rusine to the backstop, and it's 3-2. A lot of full counts from Vicente. 2 in the first inning, and now he's run it full on Francisco. And this is what you're looking to do against a good starting pitcher, is just see as many pitches as you can. Here's the payoff. Outside, ball 4. Vicente's second walk in as many innings. Leadoff man aboard. We are scoreless in the bottom of inning number 2, and the batter is Peyton Miller. Vicente hasn't really had a lot of trouble with command this season. That's just his 7th walk as he begins his 27th inning of work. But the Flyboys are a very patient team. Really up and down the lineup. You don't get to be one of the league's best offensive teams without working a lot of walks. Miller squares to bunt, gets it down the third base line. Tryon charging. The pitcher is the one who fields, and the throw gets away. Francisco's on his way to third. He's going to try to score, but he stumbles around the bag and has to retreat as the throw comes in from the right fielder, Alex Kelsey. Miller moves up to second on the play. That was a fastball that ended up nearly hitting Miller. He tried leaping out of the way and inadvertently got a perfect bunt down the third base line. Vicente was the one who came off the mound to field it. Probably should have just held onto it, but he tried to make a circus throw to first. It got past P.J. Jones, who, in the confusion, lost his first baseman's mitt. And with all the foul territory down the lines here at Pioneer Park, the Flyboys were off and running, and now they have 2 men in scoring position with nobody out here in the bottom of the second. It's one of those plays where, as a pitcher, you're trying to just do something defensively, but Vicente would have been better off holding on to that one. So credit Miller with a bunt single, advancing to second base on the throwing error. Hunter stepping in. Vicente from the stretch. Hunter takes a strike at the knees. That's something Peyton Miller has been doing more lately, is laying down quality bunts. And bunting at a lot of levels of baseball has become a lost art of sorts. Here's the 0-1. Hunter fouls it back at home plate. With the emphasis on power and extra base hits, hitting the ball in the air, a lot of guys do not bunt at all anymore. But Peyton Miller showed why he's one of the best on this Flyboys team at bunting. Here's the 0-2. Hunter hits it off the end of the bat, foul behind home plate. Francisco moves up to third on that play. It looked like Jared Miller wanted to send him, but I think Francisco got tripped up rounding third base, so he wisely held up. Miller, the trail runner, at second. Here's another 0-2. Hunter strikes out swinging. Vicente got him to go after an inside fastball. First and second, one gone. Scoreless in the bottom of the second. And the batter is TJ Adams, the Flyboys right fielder here tonight. But it's been a weird couple of games for the Flyboys offensively. You go from scoring 17 runs one night to getting shut out the next. Corner infielders now creeping in against Adams, the right-handed batter. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball, and he's way out in front. That's strike one. Vicente having the pause with runners on base. He can't go as quickly as he wants to now. Here's the 0-1. Adams hits a fly ball to straightaway center. Davila charging in. The shortstop going out. This ball drops in between them. Francisco's on his way home. Miller stops at third as he slips. The Flyboys take a 1-0 lead on an RBI bloop single from TJ Adams. And I mentioned at the top about the rain that we had earlier. The Flyboys were unable to get the tarp on the field before the rain hit, so there's a lot of diamond dry, especially along the base paths and in the home plate circle. And I wonder if that's causing footing issues for a lot of these base runners, because Francisco and Miller have both slipped. And before Tyler Inge digs in, Kingsport pitching coach John Chalupa is headed out to the mound. Greenville leading 1-0 as Adams picks up his 6th RBI of the season. That was one of those bloopers that dropped into no man's land. Davila, playing pretty deep in center, started back and then sprinted in as Mason Swinney, the shortstop, went out there, and that ball dropped right between the two of them. But Peyton Miller looked like he had a chance to score, and then rounding third base, almost exactly where Brady Francisco slipped, Miller appeared to slip as well. And during this mound meeting, you can see him testing his footing on the base path down the third base line. But you can see the diamond dry. It's got a lighter tint than the normal dirt, and there is a lot of it on the base paths. But the rain came fast and furious, and there just wasn't enough time to get the tarp on the field. Now here's Tyler Inge stepping in. We've seen him pretty much everywhere in this Flyboys lineup this season. Here's the first pitch. Inge takes high and inside. Rusine, the catcher, leapt out of his crouch to grab that fastball. Men at first and third, one gone. Flyboys lead 1-0 over Kingsport here in the bottom of the second. Adams has good speed. He's leading off of first base. Vicente deals. Inge hits a fly ball toward the right field foul line, and Kelsey charges but runs out of room. Expansive foul territory here in Greenville. With the brick walls lining the field behind the plate and down the lines, the warning track is massive, probably about 15 or 20 feet in width. Here's the 1-1. Inge chases a high inside fastball, and it's 1-2. That pitch was about 6 inches inside and 6 inches high, but that high fastball looks so enticing to hitters. But unless you're sitting on that, and even if you are, you're probably not going to catch up to it. Vicente looking for a big second out. He sets. And the 1-2. Inge takes outside. Delayed steal. Throw to second. It's offline. Miller slips coming off of third. Now he is stuck between third and home. Tagged out by Ben Tryon. Adams takes second. But, Miller, I think, was limping there for a second as he jogs back to the dugout. But we talked about it. Miller tried to round third earlier, and he slipped. And there, TJ Adams moving to second did the right thing, delaying the defense for as long as he could. But Miller, getting off of third, fell down. And Kingsport saw that, was able to throw to the bag where Ben Tryon tagged him out. So that is the second out of the inning. Adams moves up to second base, but he is the lone base runner now. I wonder if they're going to work on that spot on the base path in between innings, because that is the third time we've seen a base runner slip there. 1-2 on Inge. Here's the pitch. Inge takes way outside. Rusine diving to his backhand to keep that one from going to the backstop. So 2-2 on Inge. The top of the order waits on deck in Reed Hare. Inge with a base hit will probably drive home TJ Adams. He takes off for third. The pitch inside. Throw down to third base is way late. So Adams swipes third. That was ball 4 to Tyler Inge. Now men on the corners for the top of the order as Hare comes back up. Flyboys leading 1-0 here in the bottom of the second. Looking to add some more against one of the league's best starting pitchers. And now you've got three guys, Inge at first, Adams at third, and Hare at the plate, who all have really good speed. Inge has stolen 12 bases this season. Hare is in from the left side. Here's the pitch. Outside. Vincenti misses with the fastball. And now you think, man, if Peyton Miller hadn't gotten caught by the invisible tripwire at third base, Flyboys would really be threatening. 1-0. Outside again. Vicente having to work. He's up to 44 pitches in just an inning and 2/3. Let's see if Inge starts from first and the Flyboys try that first and third play again. Here's the 2-0. High and outside, ball 3. All of these pitches missing well off the plate to the left-handed hitter. Miller was leading off in the dirt at third. Adams now, seeing 2 men slip, is leading off on the grass. 3-0 on Hare. Here it comes. A fastball on the outside corner for strike 1. It's a good 3-0 pitch from Vicente. May have been a little low. Still thinking about Tyler Inge maybe trying to steal second base here. He's got a decent lead. Here's the 3-1. Hare takes an outside strike and the count runs full. These are really well located fastballs by Vicente. Both of these right around the knees on the outside part of the plate. Full count, 2 outs. So Tyler Inge will take off from first. Here's the pitch. Ball 4, and that loads the bases. Early trouble for Ronan Vicente. That is his 3rd walk of the inning and already his 4th of the game. This is a guy who had walked 6 in 25 innings entering tonight. Flyboys leading 1-0. Base is loaded. 2 gone in the second for Jace Patton. And you're thinking if Patton can reach, then Ezra McNaughton has a chance to really blow this one open. From the windup, here's the pitch. Low and outside. Once again, Rusine has to dive to his backhand. Vicente going fastball heavy since the command has escaped him. 1-0 on Patton. Here's the wind and the pitch. Patton takes upstairs. That pitch was closer to the zone, just above, though. 2-0 on Patton. Vicente needs a strike. Here it comes. Patton hits a high pop fly to shallow left center. Mason Swinney, the shortstop, going out, calling the ball and making the catch to end the inning. Flyboys strike first on the RBI single from TJ Adams, but they leave him loaded. And after 2, Greenville leads Kingsport 1-0 on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Welcome back to Pioneer Park, where the Greenville Flyboys lead the Kingsport Axemen 1-0 after 2 innings. Braxton Lewis has faced the minimum through 2. He picked off Derek Pitts, the leadoff walk back in the second. That is the only base runner the Axemen have had in this game. So it's P.J. Jones, followed by Phoenix McFarland and Alex Kelsey, a pair of lefties sandwiching a right-handed batter. And we were talking about in the last half inning about the sloppy field conditions after a pop-up rain shower ambushed Greenville in the hours leading up to this game. So there is now more diamond dry on the field near the first and third base bags, which is where the water started pooling up earlier. Clear skies right now, but the field conditions caught the Flyboys out in the last inning. So hopefully it improves moving forward. First pitch to Jones is fouled back. P.J. Jones out of Maryland. One of a couple Terps in the Appy League. The other, Jordan Crosland, the dangerous leadoff man for Elizabethton. Lewis nods his head, likes the sign. Francisco sets up outside. Here's the 0-1. Swinging a line drive toward deep left center field. Hare and Hunter converging, and Grant Hunter makes the catch in the gap to retire P.J. Jones. Francisco wanted that pitch outside. It ended up on the high inside corner to the left-handed hitter, and Jones didn't miss it. He got under it by just a bit, but he was on time with it. Leadoff man gone. Flyboys leading 1-0 in the top of the third, and the batter is Phoenix McFarland. Right-handed batter takes a high fastball from Braxton Lewis. And now the 1-0. McFarland hits a line drive into right field for a seeing eye one-out single. That was a middle fastball from Lewis. And McFarland did not miss it. So a one-out base runner for Alex Kelsey. And now if you're Braxton Lewis, you're thinking, okay, the Flyboys have been good at turning double plays lately. And the top of the order waits on deck. One of the most dangerous combinations of hitters in the Appy League. So if you're going to retire anybody with a double play, it's got to be Alex Kelsey. Lewis from the stretch. Swinging a line drive toward right center field. This ball is down between Adams and Hare. McFarland going first to third. The throw into second base. And Kingsport is threatening here in the top of the third. The Axemen have first and third with only one away.
Now batting number 25, Colin Larson.
Couple ambush swings from the bottom of the order, attacking fastballs early in the count. And that will bring Flyboys pitching coach Jared Morton out of the first base dugout to talk things over with Braxton Lewis. We mentioned Lewis is primarily a reliever. His 12th appearance, but just his second start this season. And the Flyboys usually will use their relievers for an inning or two at most. So this is where, for Lewis, you're thinking about, okay, how much more does he have left in the tank? And also, how does he want to attack the Kingsport order as he faces them for the second time? Colin Larson and Mason Swinney do here. Larson mentioned with an on-base over 500, one of the league's best base runners. And then Mason Swinney, who isn't as much of a threat, but still, his on-base over 400. And this is how Kingsport has made its living, is mostly just by outscoring everybody. The Axemen entering this game lead the league in runs per game and ERA. So you're talking about a team that scores a lot of runs and makes it very hard for its opponents to score. Conference concludes on the mound. Kelsey at first, McFarland at third for the top of the order as Colin Larson gets set to hit. Braxton Lewis has held Kingsport scoreless so far. Flyboys leading 1-0, but that can change very quickly. And we'll see how the Flyboys play this defensively. With one away in the inning, you've got the double play in order. McNaughton holding the runner on at first. Peyton Miller at third base is in front of the bag. Here's the pitch. Larson takes outside. The Flyboys outfield is shading the left-handed hitter slightly to his opposite field side. There's a lot of space in the right center field gap. Here's the 1-0 to Larson. A slider that misses outside. Lewis tried that backdoor breaking ball, but Larson laid off, and it's 2-0. And now you're talking about a situation where the pitcher has to attack. Lewis looks over at first. Kelsey has 6 stolen bases this season. Here's the 2-0. Backdoor slider. This one's a strike at the knees, and that's a tough pitch to do anything with on 2-0. Kingsport has stolen a lot of bases, but the Axemen have also been caught stealing on about 1 of every 4 attempts. So Kelsey will have to pick his spot. He's got a short lead. Here's the 2-1. Larson chases outside. A delayed steal of second and no throw from Francisco. That's how you pick your spot if you're Alex Kelsey. He's now 7 for 11 swiping bags this season. That was not a straight steal. He paused and waited until that ball was about halfway to home plate, and then he took off. So that erases the double play. Now second and third with only 1 gone. And Lewis will surely need either a strikeout, a shallow pop-out, or maybe a ground ball to a corner infielder. Here's the 2-2. Larson strikes out swinging. Lewis got him to chase a low slider there, and that is exactly what he was looking for. Fourth strikeout for Braxton Lewis, and that one comes in a very big spot. Second and third, 2 gone. Flyboys leading 1-0 as Mason Swinney hits for the second time. Lewis is set right on right. Here's the pitch. Swinney takes high and inside. And this is where, for Lewis, nobody's up in the Flyboys bullpen, so you would assume that he's going to go at least one more inning as the right-hander is set. Here's the 1-0. Swinney takes a slider right on the outside corner, and it's 1-1. Swinney spun out of the right-handed batter's box, and you could see his facial expression. He didn't like the call. Right at the knees, just off the plate, but Lewis got the call. Now here's the 1-1. Low and away. Lewis tried to get the chase on the slider that time. The right-hander up to 50 pitches. But Lewis may come out for one more inning, and if he can face the heart of the order with the bases empty, then that would play to his favor. Here's the 2-1. Swinney takes an outside fastball. And now this is a pitch where Swinney knows he's likely going to get something to hit, because the last thing Lewis wants to do is load the bases for the number 3 hitter, Ben Tryon. Big pitch coming here. The 3-1. Swinney takes outside, and that's ball 4. And that loads the bases for Ben Tryon. Mentioned nobody throwing in the Flyboys bullpen, so this is Lewis's inning. Flyboys leading 1-0 here in the top of the third. And Ronan Vicente worked out of a bases-loaded jam in the last half inning. Ben Tryon has a chance to really pay it off if he can drive a baseball into the gap. The outfield plays very deep here at Pioneer Park. Left-handed batter stepping in. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball misses outside. McFarland is at third base. Alex Kelsey at second. And Swinney over at first. Tryon with 15 RBIs this season. He's got a pair of homers. Lewis is ready. Here's the 1-0. Tryon takes a fastball for a strike. Kingsport has the best slugging percentage of any team in the Appy League at .420 entering this game. No other team is higher than .393. It's by quite some margin. Here's the 1-1. Tryon hits a soft liner that is down into right center field, and Kingsport should take the lead. 1 run scores, the second run comes home standing up, and the Axemen do take a 2-1 lead on a 2-run single from Ben Tryon here in the top of the third. RBIs number 16 and 17 for the man from Dallas Baptist. McFarland scores from third, and Kelsey hustles in from second. A 2-out walk to load the bases is never a good thing, and Tryon pays it off right there. So now men on the corners for Derek Pitts, who has been slugging really since he arrived in Kingsport. First pitch, a slider, low and outside. Pitts checked his swing, and it's ball 1. Pitts with 19 RBIs for the Axemen. He is tied for second on the team. Here's the 1-0. Pitts takes a high fastball. Pitts and Tyler Myatt both have 19 RBIs. And this is the fortunate thing for the Flyboys, is that neither Myatt nor Cam Durnan, who has 38 RBIs, neither of them are in the lineup. 2-0 on Pitts. Here's the pitch. Fastball hit sharply on the ground to shortstop, but Patton fields and shovels to Inge in time to end the inning. On to the bottom of the third we go here from Pioneer Park. The Axemen have taken a 2-1 lead after the RBI knock from Ben Tryon. Let's see if Greenville can respond here on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Flyboys trailing 2-1 as we begin the bottom of the third inning. Kingsport took the lead with a 2-run single from Ben Tryon. Greenville has the heart of the order facing the right-hander Ronan Vicente for the second time. Ezra McNaughton hits the first pitch foul behind home plate. McNaughton is followed in this inning by Lane Akers and Brady Francisco. 3, 4, 5 in the Greenville order here. This is the first of 6 games the Flyboys will play here at Pioneer Park this week. The 0-1, a breaking ball on the outside edge, says Zach Bloom, the home plate umpire, and it's 0-2. That looks like it was off the plate to the left-handed hitting McNaughton. The right-hander Vicente is in control. And now here's the 0-2. McNaughton takes up and in, lifting his arms out of the way of an inside fastball. McNaughton walked his first time up. Vicente, I think, trying to pitch around him a little bit, but McNaughton very patient. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Outside with the breaking ball. And Vicente flirted with serious trouble in the second inning. Got a little bit of break, but got a little bit of a break from slippery field conditions. Here's the 2-2. McNaughton hits a drive toward deep center field. Landis Davila, though, is there, and he makes the catch for the first out here in the bottom of inning number 3. McNaughton didn't quite get all of that one. That was a fastball on the knees, in the inside part of the plate. So McNaughton is retired, and now here's Lane Akers. The Flyboys had first and third with nobody out. Peyton Miller slipped on a first and third play. He was the lead runner, and he was tagged out as Akers takes a fastball for a strike. And then Greenville ended up with second and third and 2 out, and then had the bases loaded but did not score. It's quickly 0-2. That fastball right at the knees on the outside corner, and Akers asks for time. And this is what you were thinking Vicente might come back with after the Axemen took the lead. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Akers chases a slider, spins around, but comes up with nothing. 2 quick outs here in the home half of the third, as Vicente strikes out his second batter of the game. And this is the same thing that Burlington sock puppet starting pitcher Andrew Steinhaus did. Flyboys strand the bases loaded. His team takes the lead, and then the starter comes out and delivers a shutdown inning. That's what you're looking for right here if you're Kingsport. Brady Francisco looks to keep the inning going. Here's the pitch. Right-handed batter takes low and outside. But Vicente mentioned that he's been fantastic for Kingsport this season. The Flyboys, you don't know how many scoring chances they're going to get against him. The 1-0 is foul, tipped at home plate. That's why you've got to make the most of everything that you have. And the Flyboys got 1. And you think bases loaded, you'd want to get at least 1 more. And then Kingsport responding and taking the lead in the top half of the next inning. Just adds salt in the wound. 1-1 to Francisco is a broken bat, soft liner to right, and Kelsey plays it on a hop. So it's a 2-out single for Brady Francisco. Muscled that pitch over the infield, down in front of Kelsey. Don't know if that bat's going to be used again, though. Man at first, 2 gone for Peyton Miller. He had a bunt single last inning. I mentioned that he slipped coming off of third base. They've got a lot of diamond dry on the field. They came out and put some more down prior to this half inning. So hopefully it doesn't catch out Miller or anyone else. Vicente is set. Here's the pitch. Miller squares to bunt. He pops it up on the infield. Vicente coming on. He can't get it. Everybody is safe. Francisco, leaning off of second, gets back in time. Peyton Miller has his second bunt single in as many innings. This one, not quite as well executed. He popped it up in front of home plate, but Rusine couldn't get out to it, and Vicente was the only other man who had a shot. He dove and could not make the catch. And that brings Kingsport's pitching coach, John Chalupa, back out of the dugout. This will be his second meeting with Vicente in as many innings. Probably just trying to give him a moment to catch his breath. It's not every day your pitcher tries to make a diving catch. But that's what Vicente tried to do there. First and second for the Flyboys here with 2 gone. Kingsport leading 2-1 in the bottom of the 3rd. Vicente will face Grant Hunter. Hunter with 10 RBIs this season. But Vicente, fortunate he's not facing the likes of either Ezra McNaughton or Reed Hare. Both of whom at the top of the Flyboys lineup are in the top 5 in the Appy League in RBIs. But if you're Greenville, you can at least find solace in that Vicente's pitch count is already up to 63, and he's only gotten through 2 2/3. So you'll be forcing Kingsport to go to the bullpen sooner than I think the Axemen would have liked. Here's the pitch to Hunter. Up and in. Vicente misses with the fastball. He's missed high and tight to a few of the Flyboys' right-handed hitters already in this game. I don't think there's any intent behind that. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Inside again. This fastball about knee-high to Hunter, and it's 2-0. Miller at first, Francisco at second. With 2 outs, they'll be off on anything. See if Hunter can drive one into the gap and tie this game up or even give the Flyboys the lead back. Runners inching off their bases. Here's the pitch, and it hits Hunter in the elbow guard. So the Flyboys had the bases loaded with 2 outs for the second time in as many innings. And now it's TJ Adams' turn.
Now, batting for the Flyboys, number 19, TJ Adams.
Adams looking to perhaps correct the record when he hits with the bases loaded. This will be the second time in as many games that he's done so. Last time, he hit into a double play in Burlington. Here's the pitch from Vicente. Adams takes low. Right-handed batter hitting in the number 8 spot for the Flyboys. Adams already has an RBI in this game. Let's see if he can add some more. Here's the 1-0. He hits a shallow pop fly to right field. Alex Kelsey jogging toward the line, makes the catch, and that ends the inning. So the Flyboys leave them loaded twice in 2 innings. Vicente playing with fire, but not getting burned. After 3, Kingsport leads Greenville 2-1 on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Flyboys trailing Kingsport 2-1 as we begin the top of the 4th inning here from Pioneer Park. Braxton Lewis getting the start for Greenville is still on the hill as he works his way through the Kingsport order for the second time. He'll face Landis Davila, Jace Rusine, and P.J. Jones. 3 left-handed batters to face the righty. Davila swings and misses at a high fastball, and it's 0-1. Flyboys open the scoring with an RBI single from T.J. Adams. Kingsport answered last inning with a 2-run knock from Ben Tryon. Here's the 0-1. Davila punches it foul toward third. That ball's out of play. I think that ball got stuck in the canopy over the third base seating area. It's 0-2 on Davila as Lewis winds and deals. Davila fouls it away toward third base once again. Flyboys now have a couple right-handers getting loose in the first base bullpen. I see A.J. Diaz down there, I think is one of them. Can't tell who the other one is. Here's another 0-2. Davila takes outside. That pitch was on the outside chalk, about a foot off the plate. Not really an objectionable call there. Lewis trying to work everything away against the left-handed batter. He's ready, and the 1-2. Outside and low. Looks like he took a little bit off of that one. But Davila, Rusine, and Jones, the 3 due up in this inning, all went down in order the first time they faced Lewis. Here's the 2-2. Davila takes up and away. Both starters really having to work in this game. Lewis is now up to 65 pitches. Ronan Vicente nearing 70. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Davila takes strike 3. Fastball right on the inside corner. No argument from him as he strikes out for the second time. 5 strikeouts for Braxton Lewis. Flyboys trailing Kingsport 2-1. Leadoff man gone in the 4th, and the batter is Jace Rusine. Switch hitter batting left for the Axemen. Lewis back on the rubber. Here's the pitch to Rusine. A slider at the knees for a strike. There's a really good bite on that breaking pitch from the right-hander. Rusine in the lefty box with no batting gloves. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Backdoor slider misses outside. Lewis trying to perhaps double up on that pitch, but that one was off the plate and a little bit high as well. 1-1. Here it comes. Rusine takes outside. Both pitchers working pretty quickly in this game. Don't know how much longer Lewis is going to go. Mentioned he's usually a reliever who works an inning and then gets out of there. Here's the 2-1. Rusine takes a strike. Fastball at the top of the zone. But with the Flyboys having some usual starting pitchers depart, Kellen Klosterman and Jace Smith among them, you got to get the innings from somebody. 2-2 on Rusine as Lewis comes back. Rusine hits a chopper to the right side. Tyler Inge waits on it, and the throw to first is in plenty of time to get Rusine. Inge has retired him both times. 2 gone. Flyboys trailing Kingsport 2-1 here in the top of the 4th. Base is empty for P.J. Jones. Jones played sparingly at Maryland this spring. The Terps, always a frisky program in the Big Ten. Jones played in 18 games for them. Had an on-base percentage of .500, even though the batting average was .282. First pitch, a strike on the outside corner. And that's right in line with what he's done in Kingsport as well. Low batting average, under 200, but an on-base over 350. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Jones fouls it away to the left side. Lewis a pitch away from a much-needed shutdown inning to keep the Flyboys within a run against Kingsport. Because the Axemen can open this one up at any time. Their offense as potent as any in the league. Francisco setting up outside. Here's the 0-2. Way outside. That was in the right-handed batter's box. Francisco wanted that just off the plate, but Lewis had it sail on him there. The right-hander is now up to 74 pitches. Here's the 1-2 to Jones. Breaking ball, swung on and missed, and that's strike 3. Braxton Lewis with his second 1-2-3 inning. He's got 6 strikeouts through 4. And as we go to the home half of inning number 4, Flyboys still trailing Kingsport 2-1 on the Greenville Flyboys Baseball Network. Welcome back to Pioneer Park, where the Greenville Flyboys trail the Kingsport Axemen 2-1. Kingsport goes to its bullpen as we begin the home half of inning number 4. It'll be Burton Rawlings, the right-hander, on out of the bullpen to replace Ronan Vicente. The Kingsport starter going just 3 innings, allowing a run on 4 hits, 4 walks, and 2 strikeouts. He stranded the bases loaded twice, but Kingsport opting to cut the outing after just 3 innings, giving way to Burton Rawlings, the right-hander out of Gardner-Webb, the Runnin' Bulldogs, which is a unique mascot. Tyler Inge will be followed by Reed Hare and Jace Patton, 9-1-2, although Tyler Inge has been in the leadoff spot for Greenville this season. Inge takes high from the right-hander Rawlings. Rawlings is on for the 7th time this season. 10 innings, 8 earned. Base runners have been a problem. 9 walks, 8 hits, 6 strikeouts for the man from Gardner-Webb. Here's the 1-0. Inge foul tips a fastball at home plate. That got a piece of the home plate umpire, Zach Bloom. He gives the thumbs up to the field umpire, Marcus DeCiso. Says, I'm okay. Flyboys in this game are out-hitting Kingsport 4-3. Greenville has left 7 on base in the first 3 innings. You figure the Flyboys are going to get that big swing of the bat from somebody. Here's the 1-1. Inge takes a fastball right there for strike 2. He asks for time at home plate. Clear skies overhead in Greenville. We had some rain prior to the game that caused slippery field conditions, but everything seems to be okay for now. Rawlings from the stretch. Here's the 1-2. Inge checks his swing on a high fastball. Marcus DeCiso says he held up. Inge chased that pitch when he faced Ronan Vicente back in the second. Ultimately ended up walking, but Rawlings tried to get him to go after it again. Inge did not. So 2-2 on the Oregon State commit. And here's the pitch. Breaking ball floats outside and a tick high. Rawlings tried the slider, but the count is full. I mentioned Vicente needing to work. He threw 68 pitches in 3 innings. 35 of them for strikes. Here's the full count pitch. Inge takes outside, and that's a leadoff walk. Flyboys doing a good job getting base runners. It's just that they haven't really done as much with them as they would have liked. And Kingsport, these are 2 teams that do not walk many batters at all. Kingsport and Greenville, the 2 best teams in the Appy League by walk rate entering this game. The Axemen, the best among them, but Kingsport has already walked 5 batters here with nobody away in the 4th. Here's Reed Hare stepping in now. Right on left. And the batter takes in the dirt. It gets to the backstop. Inge moves up to second. A big turn. He's thinking about third. Here's the throw. The tag. Inge is out. You never want to make their first or third out of an inning at third base. And Tyler Inge was just retired for the first out of the inning. That erases the leadoff walk. And you like the idea there with the deep backstop, but Jace Rusine showed off the arm there. Made an accurate throw to Ben Tryon after he retrieved that wild pitch. So now the bases are clear once again, just as quickly as they were occupied. 1-0 on Reed Hare after Inge is retired. And Hare takes low and away. You figure if you're Inge there, that's one of those where you're already at second with nobody out. You understand wanting to make the defense pay, but also I think there's a fine line between that and getting greedy. Here's the 2-0 to Hare. Swinging a foul back to the screen. Score at 2-5 as Inge is thrown out. See if Hare can get on base and keep Rawlings in the stretch. Right-hander Rawlings still in the stretch with the bases empty. Hare hits a pop fly toward the third base side, out of play. And it's 2-2. Flyboys trailing Kingsport 2-1. 1 away in the bottom of the 4th here from Pioneer Park. We'll be here all week. The Flyboys do have a doubleheader. That is coming up on Thursday against Tri-State as the Colecats make the return trip to Greenville. Here's the 2-2. Hare fouls it back. And that was a trip that the Flyboys made out to Huntington about a month ago now. Winning 2 games. The third was suspended after 4.5 innings with Greenville leading. And we will play the rest of that as the first game of a doubleheader here in a couple days. Here's another 2-2. Hare foul tips it. It's held on to by Rusine, and that's strike 3. Hare retired on the fastball. Here's Jace Patton.
Number 25, Jace Patton.
Burton Rawlings doing a good job there of composing himself. After the wild pitch, Inge was thrown out. He strikes out Reed Hare. Patton 0 for 2 facing Ronan Vicente, so he's probably glad that the Kingsport starter is gone. Here's the pitch. A breaking ball that misses outside. Rawlings, a native of Chicago originally. Here's the 1-0. Patton takes outside. It's his second summer with the Axemen. 10 innings in each of the last 2 summers, though last summer went a little bit more smoothly. Allowed just 3 runs in 10 innings. He's allowed 8 in his first 10 2/3. 2-0 to Patton is swung on and missed. A fastball right down Main Street. Patton whiffed on it. Floodlights beginning to take effect here in Greenville. Those shadows we talked about earlier are now gone. Hopefully, so too are the sloppy field conditions. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss at a high fastball. That pitch was about head high to Patton, so he asked for time. Retreats all the way onto the grass in foul territory. Patton looking just to give Ezra McNaughton a chance to hit with a man on base. Figure with the offensive firepower for each of these 2 teams, the chance of this game ending 2-1 is very slim. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Patton chases high cheese again, and he's gone. Rawlings strikes out a pair as the side is retired in order here in the bottom of inning number 4. On to the 5th we go. Kingsport leading Greenville 2-1 here on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Flyboys go to their bullpen as we begin the top of inning number 5. Kingsport leading Greenville 2-1 here from Pioneer Park. Nick Rotocap with you on the Flyboys Baseball Network. A.J. Diaz is the reliever who replaces Braxton Lewis. The right-hander faces 8-9-1 in the Kingsport order. First pitch to Phoenix McFarland misses in the dirt. Diaz is a 2-way player out of the junior college ranks. On the mound for the 10th time this season. Here's the 1-0 to McFarland. Inside from the righty Diaz. Diaz has made a couple spot starts. We mentioned he was an opener late last week in Danville facing the Otterbots. Here's the 2-0. McFarland fouls it back. Flyboys used him as an opener, and then Jake Kennedy pitched the next 5 innings. Diaz faced 6 men in that first inning. Gave up an RBI single, but he's back in his usual reliever role here this evening. 2-1 on McFarland. Right on right. Here it comes. Fastball on the low inside corner. That's a perfect pitch for strike 2. 90 miles per hour right at the knees. Kingsport scored both of its runs on an RBI single from Ben Tryon back in the 3rd inning. Here's the 2-2. McFarland chases a slider, and he's gone on strikes. Already the 7th strikeout recorded by Flyboys pitching, and we are not yet at the halfway point. Here's Alex Kelsey, left-handed batter stepping in against the righty Diaz. 5 in a row retired by Greenville pitching. Braxton Lewis retired the final 4 consecutively to close his outing. Here's the pitch to Kelsey. Slider in the dirt from Diaz. Kingsport leading 2-1 here with 1 gone in the top of the 5th. Kelsey, the left-handed batter out of St. Joseph's in Pennsylvania. Here's the 1-0. Kelsey takes low and away. Diaz, a Yavapai Junior College product from this past season, and Kelsey out of St. Joe's. The 2-0 bounces to the plate, and it's ball 3. Separated by just a couple thousand miles, both playing their summer ball here in East Tennessee. An interesting scheduling quirk that I didn't even notice until I took a closer look. Here's the 3-0. Kelsey watches a strike. He was taking all the way. is that the Flyboys host Kingsport. This is meeting number 5 here at Pioneer Park between these two teams. Kingsport does not host Greenville at all this season. Here's the 3-1. Kelsey takes another strike. Fastball at the top of the zone. Diaz has filled the count up. That's very unusual because the Flyboys play home and home with every other team in the league, but they do not go to Kingsport. And it's not even that far away. It's about 45 minutes. Here's the 3-2. Kelsey swings and misses. He's gone on the fastball. A very late swing decision there as Diaz ramped it up to 91 miles per hour. Kelsey could not spoil it. Diaz has struck out the first 2 men he's faced. Base is empty now for Colin Larson, left-handed batter at the top of the Kingsport order. Mentioned his on-base percentage over 500 entering this game, but he's 0 for 2 tonight. Here's the pitch. Larson hits a high pop fly to shallow left center. Patton, the shortstop, is backpedaling into the gap, and he makes the catch right in front of Grant Hunter in left field. That's the inning. A 1-2-3 fifth inning for A.J. Diaz. A pair of strikeouts for the two-way player. And at the halfway mark, Kingsport still leads Greenville 2-1 on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Welcome back to Pioneer Park. We're set for the bottom of the 5th inning here in Greenville. Kingsport leading the Flyboys 2-1. Right-hander Burton Rawlings retired the side in order in the 4th. He'll face Ezra McNaughton, Lane Akers, and Brady Francisco as he looks to do the same here in the 5th. Ezra McNaughton stepping in from the left side. The league's best power hitter. He's the only man with 10 home runs this season. Also second in the league in RBIs. Let's see if maybe he can even this game up with a solo homer. Burton Rawlings always goes from the stretch. Here's the pitch. McNaughton takes a strike. Fastball on the inside part of the plate. McNaughton just missed a low inside fastball his last time up. Flew out to center. Flyboys got on the board first. Some small ball and an RBI single from TJ Adams back in the 2nd inning. Here's the 0-1. Slider misses high from Rawlings. And then Kingsport responded in the next inning. Top of the 3rd, it was a 2-run single from Ben Tryon. Greenville loaded the bases in both the 2nd and the 3rd, but could not capitalize in those spots. Here's the 1-1. McNaughton takes outside. But the Flyboys have worked back-to-back 1-2-3 innings on the mound to keep themselves behind by just a run. Rawlings looking in for the sign from Jace Rusine. Right-hander sets at the letters. Here's the 2-1. McNaughton takes low. Fastball missing in the dirt, and it's 3-1. Teams pitching around him, definitely becoming the norm, but as the leadoff man in a 1-run game, I don't know that Rawlings wants to walk McNaughton here. Hitters count. Here's the 3-1. McNaughton hits a slow roller up the middle. This ball is cut off on a slide by the shortstop Mason Swinney, but he has to hold on to it. That looks like a knuckleball off the bat, hopping off the infield grass past the mound. McNaughton muscles it past the pitcher, and neither Swinney nor the second baseman, Phoenix McFarland, could get there in time. So it's an infield hit to start the 5th for the Flyboys as they look to cut into this 2-1 deficit. The batter now is Lane Akers, the Flyboys' designated hitter. 0 for 2 so far in this game. McNaughton is aboard for the 2nd time in 3 trips, raising his on-base closer to 515. Here's the pitch. Akers hits a high fly ball to straightaway right field. Alex Kelsey coming in once again. He makes the catch just above the bill of his blue cap. And Akers is 0 for 3. He's flown out to Kelsey twice. Brady Francisco has had a little bit more luck at the plate. The Flyboys catcher. A walk, a run score, and a base hit as well. As Francisco comes to the plate, Ezra McNaughton has good speed over there at first base. With Greenville facing one of the league's best pitching staffs. I wonder if McNaughton tries to steal second here to at least eliminate the chance at a double play. Rawlings is set. Here's the pitch. Low and outside. Fastball missing to the right-handed hitter. The Flyboys can control the running game pretty well. Kingsport, not so much. They've thrown out just 10 guys on 59 tries this season. A pickoff move to first. McNaughton dives back in. That's right around the league average, which is 19%. The Flyboys, by comparison, second. They've thrown out 28% of all base stealers. Only Tri-State is better, and the Colecats will be here on Thursday. Here's the 1-0. Francisco chases a high fastball. Couldn't quite catch up to it there, and it's 1-1. Jared Miller gives these signs at third base, claps his hands a couple times. Rawlings working the edges of the strike zone. McNaughton leading off first. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Francisco fouls it back. Same exact spot as the previous offering there. That high fastball from Rawlings. And it's close enough to tempting the zone where Francisco knows he needs to swing at it based on how Zach Bloom has called the strike zone from behind home plate tonight. But as a hitter, you've really got to get started early to get the barrel up there. Rawlings is set. Here's the 1-2. Francisco punches it foul over toward first. Fans always caught off guard. The way the canopy is constructed behind home plate, there are a lot of metal support beams which can deflect baseballs straight down when they're fouled off over there. That's what happened with that one. So a couple fans get startled by it, but looks like everybody's okay. Here's another 1-2. The runner goes. The pitch is way high. Throw down to second is late by a mile. And Ezra McNaughton steals his 13th base of the season. That was a tough pitch for the catcher, Rusine, to try to throw on there. It was a breaking ball that popped out of the hand of Rawlings well before he wanted it to. Francisco had to duck out of the way. And McNaughton, with his speed, got in there easily. So he's now in scoring position, representing the tying run as the Flyboys trail 2-1. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Francisco pops it up on the right side, drifting into the shallow outfield, and then coming back in is P.J. Jones. The first baseman makes the catch. And Francisco is the second out here in the bottom of the fifth. RBI opportunity for Peyton Miller. 2 bunt singles in as many innings for Miller. The last one, he popped up in front of home plate, and it dropped perfectly in between Rusine and the pitcher, Ronan Vicente. Miller more than likely swinging away here with two gone in the inning. McNaughton is at second, representing the tying run. Rawlings looks back there. 3 peeks back, and the pitch. Miller takes high. Fastball missing there. That pitch looked pretty good from here. I'm surprised Rawlings didn't get the call, but it's ball 1. The third baseman, Ben Tryon, is a couple steps behind the base, maybe still conscious of the bunt. Here's the 1-0. Miller takes up and in. Fastball sailed on Rawlings right there. But the other 3 infielders are shading the right-handed hitter to the opposite field. Jace Rusine wants to have a word with Rawlings before the 2-0 pitch. Elsewhere around the Appy League, Elizabethton continues to struggle. The River Riders have lost 6 in a row, and they are trailing last place Danville 4-1 in the top of the 8th in Elizabethton. It's a game worth keeping an eye on, because if Danville wins, it would put more separation between Greenville, Kingsport, and the rest of the Appy League West. 2-0 on Francisco after the conference. Rawlings needs a strike. Here's the pitch. Miller takes low and away. It's ball 3. McNaughton singled to start the inning. Akers flew out to shallow right field, and Brady Francisco popped up behind first base. But 3-0 on Francisco as the Flyboys threaten once again. Here's the pitch. Fastball misses high. That's a 2-out walk issued by Burton Rawlings. That is the 6th walk issued by by Kingsport in this game. Both Kingsport and Burlington have really good pitching staffs, but both have struggled with command against the Flyboys. Rick Adair comes out of the third base dugout. That's going to be all for Burton Rawlings, as the Flyboys have first and second with 2 gone, trailing 2-1 here in the bottom of the 5th. New pitcher jogging on out of the left field bullpen. Grant Hunter has an RBI opportunity. We'll see if he can cash in after this on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Kingsport leading Greenville 2-1 here in the bottom of inning number 5. Caleb Townsend is the right-hander coming out of the bullpen to replace Burton Rawlings, who ran into some 2-out trouble, putting men at first and second for Grant Hunter, as the right-hander Townsend looks to get out of trouble. Townsend standing at just 5'9", 150, one of the smaller pitchers we've seen from any team here at Pioneer Park. Townsend, a Tennessee native out of Johnson University here in the Volunteer State. Townsend has been fantastic for Kingsport this season. 16 innings with an ERA under 3. This is his 12th appearance of the season. He's one of the Axemen relievers who they turn to in key moments like this. This game between the top 2 teams in the Appy League West could be a preview of the semifinal. Miller at first, Ezra McNaughton at second. Here's the right-handed batter, Grant Hunter. Townsend delivers, and Hunter takes a strike. Townsend with a 3/4 arm slot from the right side. The velocity's not going to blow you away. That one was only at 82. Here's the 0-1. Slider misses low and away. It gets away from Rusine, and both runners move up. That was that classic wipeout slider that ended up in the dirt. Rusine elected not to block it. Tried to backhand it, but could not. So 1-1 now on Hunter. The Flyboys have the tying and go-ahead runs in scoring position here. Charge Rusine with the passed ball. Golden chance for Greenville to at least even the scoring here. The 1-1 pitch. A fastball right there for strike 2. 84 in the outer half of the plate. But Townsend's thrown Grant Hunter a couple of very hittable pitches, and Hunter has watched them both. See if Townsend goes back to that slider here on 1 and 2. Got to be conscious of the man on third. Here's the pitch. There's the slider, but it's low. That looked like a changeup, actually. Either way, it dropped off the table, and Hunter held the bat back, so it's 2 and 2. Looks like Townsend has a couple different breaking balls. That one with much more vertical drop than horizontal movement. 2-2, low and away. Fastball missing just above the dirt, but the count has run full on Hunter. And if he walks, the bases would be loaded. The Flyboys have had them loaded twice tonight already. Did not score on either occasion. Hunter is looking to cash in here as the Flyboys trail 2-1. Townsend set. Here's the full count pitch. Swinging a line drive toward right field, or left field, I should say. That ball is down. Larson up with it. The throw in is cut off, and Grant Hunter delivers. A 2-run single with 2 outs in the 5th inning, and the Flyboys take a 3-2 lead over Kingsport. Hunter went down and got that one. It was a low breaking ball, and he hit it over the head of the shortstop, Swinney. Dunked it into left center field. Miller hustling home off on contact, scored right after Ezra McNaughton. Both men cross home plate as Hunter picks up RBIs 11 and 12 on the season. And Greenville now leads 3-2. TJ Adams takes outside for ball 1. That is a great piece of hitting with 2 strikes there by Grant Hunter. And I think, I was looking at my scorebook, but I believe Grant Hunter just got picked off to end the inning. Because Caleb Townsend started walking off the mound. TJ Adams had only seen one pitch. But Grant Hunter gets picked off to end the 5th inning. Not before he delivers the go-ahead 2-run single. See if A.J. Diaz can get that shutdown inning that the Flyboys are looking for. After 5, Greenville leading Kingsport 3-2 here on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Back here at Pioneer Park, the Flyboys have taken a 3-2 lead as we begin the top of inning number 6. Grant Hunter with a 2-run single. All of the runs that have scored in this game have come home on RBI knocks. None for extra bases, which is interesting given the offensive firepower of both of these teams. Flyboys leading Kingsport 3-2. It'll be the heart of the Kingsport order due up here. A.J. Diaz back on the mound, has missed outside with back-to-back fastballs to Mason Swinney. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Swinney takes inside, and it's quickly 3-0. Diaz worked a 1-2-3 5th inning with a pair of strikeouts, but it's going to be much tougher to keep Swinney, Ben Tryon, and Derek Pitts quiet. 3-0 fastball is in there for a strike. Tryon, the man on deck, gave Kingsport a 2-1 lead with a 2-run single back in the 3rd inning. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Swinney takes high and tight, and that's ball 4. And snaps a streak of 6 in a row retired by Flyboys pitching. That dated back to the 4th inning. So Tryon stepping in with a chance to perhaps do some more damage if he can find a gap somewhere. Tryon has really, really good power. His slugging percentage on the season is over 500. The OPS hovering around 900. Here's the pitch. Left-handed batter nearly gets clipped by a slider, and it's 1-0. The sun has set here in Greenville. Lights doing the heavy lifting now. Swinney off of first. Here's the 1-0. Swinging a smash toward deep right center field. This ball is trouble. Adams at the wall is out of room. That ball is gone for a go-ahead 2-run homer. Right on cue, Ben Tryon shows that power. Hits it deep into the trees over the right center field wall, and Kingsport takes the lead right back. It's 4-3 in the top of the 6th. Ben Tryon has all 4 RBIs tonight for the Axemen. That is the game's first extra base hit from either team. Tryon's 3rd homer of the season. RBIs number 18 and 19 for the man out of Dallas Baptist. And this is exactly what we figured it would be. Couldn't keep the offenses quiet forever for both of these teams. But with Kingsport as good of an offensive team as the Axemen are, 1 run, or 2 runs, I should say, was not going to be where the Axemen finished tonight. Derek Pitts stepping in, takes high for ball 1 from Diaz. And neither one of these teams really gives up a lot of home runs, which is what makes it interesting, because here's the 1-0. Pitts chases a fastball. Neither one of these teams gives up a lot of homers, even though they both hit a lot of home runs. These teams give up fewer homers than any other teams in the league. For the Flyboys, that's just their 11th home run allowed. Here's the 1-1. Pitts chases a slider, and it's 1-2. But you knew the heart of this Kingsport order was going to be trouble, because it always is. And that's what makes Kingsport so dangerous, is that there aren't really any easy outs. 1-2 on Pitts. Here it comes. Slider misses low and away from Diaz. Axemen now leading 4-3. Nobody gone in the top of inning number 6. Kingsport answering for Grant Hunter's 2 RBI single with a 2-run homer from Ben Tryon. Here's the 2-2. Pitts takes outside. Slider missing from Diaz. 410 feet to right center field off the bat of Ben Tryon for his 3rd homer of the season. Full count on Pitts. Here's the pitch. Pitts takes inside. He checked his swing on a low fastball. It was well off the plate. Diaz issues his 2nd walk of the inning. And now you start to wonder maybe how long Diaz will stay out there. Kingsport leading 4-3. Man at first for Landis Davila now. He's probably glad that Braxton Lewis is out of the game, because he struck out both times he faced him. The winner of this game will take sole possession of first place in the Appy League West. Here's the pitch. Davila takes outside. And, of course, they'll meet right back here tomorrow. So there is a chance, and given how evenly matched these teams are, it's a pretty good chance, that this series is split 1 game apiece. But I said it at the top, and I'll say it again. I think whichever team wins this series will win the Appy League West, if a team wins this series. Jaron Morton, the Flyboys pitching coach, comes out of the first base dugout to have a word with A.J. Diaz. There's a lefty throwing in the Flyboys bullpen. It's Garrett McCowiak. He'll be the next man on the mound for Greenville in this game. McCowiak was a part of that shutout that the Flyboys spun at Danville back on July 10th, which was 5 days ago. McCowiak flirted with some trouble, but worked a scoreless 7th inning. This is a long mound meeting here between the Flyboys infielders and the pitching coach, Jared Morton. Zach Bloom, the home plate umpire, wants in on it. I don't really know what purpose that does for him, but he's happy to join in on the festivities. And for Kingsport, this is a golden chance for the Axemen here to add to the lead. Neither team has led by more than 1 run in this game. The Flyboys led 1-0, Kingsport 2-1, Greenville 3-2, and then 2 batters later, Kingsport took a 4-3 lead. So you feel like if maybe the Axemen can open it up 2, 3, or 4 runs, they'll start to feel a little safer. Here's the 1-0 to Davila. Outside again from Diaz. Broke out a changeup there, but it's 2-0. McCowiak is throwing off the mound in the bullpen, so it looks like he's ready to come in. Here's the 2-0. Davila swings through a high fastball. It's 2-1. But Grant Hunter got picked off to end that 5th inning before TJ Adams had a chance to swing the bat. Good job by Caleb Townsend of limiting the Flyboys' damage, and then the Kingsport offense responds. 2-1 is fouled back by Davila, and it's 2-2 now. But the Flyboys and Kingsport both have turned a lot of double plays this season. Both of them with 29, tied for 2nd in the league. Diaz probably thinking this is a great time for one of those right here. See if he can get Davila to roll over. Here's the 2-2. Davila gets jammed, but fouls it away towards the 3rd base side, out of play. A good defensive swing there, as Diaz tried to paint the corner with an inside fastball. Burlington threatening, already leading 3-0 over Bristol in the top of the 6th. Sock Puppets looking for their 2nd win in a row. Here's the 2-2. Davila again fouls it back. Danville still leading Elizabethton 4-1. The Otterbots holding Elizabethton to just 2 hits in that game. They're in the top of the 9th in E-Town. Bluefield is shutting out Tri-State 2-0, and they are in the top of the 7th. Johnson City and Pulaski canceled due to field conditions. 2-2, swung on and missed in the dirt. First base is occupied. So Davila is gone on strikes for the 3rd time tonight. And this is the fortunate thing about Diaz facing this part of the Kingsport order, is that Davila, Jace Rusine, and P.J. Jones are a combined 0 for 7. Rusine has grounded out both times. So logic would suggest he's due to hit into an inning-ending double play, but we'll see. Pitts leads off of first. He's got great speed as Rusine takes inside. Kingsport leading 4-3 here in the top of the 6th. The Axemen retook the lead with a 2-run homer from Ben Tryon after Greenville had taken a 3-2 lead on a 2-run knock from Grant Hunter in the last half inning. Here's the 1-0. Fouled back by Rusine. Switch hitter still batting left. Although if he were to face Garrett Makowiak, who will likely be the next Flyboys pitcher into the game, he would switch around and bat from the right side. A lot of low-scoring games around the Appy League tonight. 7 combined runs in this one. That's the highest of any. Here's the 1-1. Rusine takes in the dirt from Diaz. Right-hander up to 35 pitches in an inning and a third. But even still, Kingsport averaging right around 7.5 runs per game, so just over half its season average. Flyboys allowing 4 runs in this game would be a success, all told. It's just a question of whether or not the bats can break through. Which, again, they've had chances, but haven't been able to really capitalize as much as they would have liked. There's still time, though. 2 pickoff throws to first from Diaz, both of them unsuccessful. Pitts has been picked off once tonight. He was leaning off of first back in inning number 2, and Braxton Lewis caught him with his weight shifted towards second and picked him off. Here's the 2-1. Outside from Diaz, and it's 3-1. But that's the thing about Diaz at times, is that the command can be a little iffy. When he's on, he's on. Struck out a pair in a 1-2-3 fifth inning, but 2 walks in this frame. And now 3-1 on Jace Rusine. Here's the pitch. Runner goes. The pitch is fouled away, and it's 3-2. That was a center cut fastball from Diaz. Probably fortunate to get that baseball back. Full count, 1 away. Wouldn't be surprised if Derek Pitts runs again here on 3-2. Mentioned that Rusine has grounded out twice. You don't want to hit into a double play here if you're Kingsport. It's going to be a tough turn anyway with Pitts' speed. Here's the pitch. Rusine strikes out swinging. Diaz got him on high cheese. Back-to-back strikeouts for the two-way player. Man at first, 2 gone for P.J. Jones. 5, 6, and 7 in the Kingsport order. Now 0 for 8 tonight. Jones stepping in, looking to avoid making it 0 for 9. Flyboys trailing 4-3 here in the top of the 6th. And now Jared Morton comes back out and points to the bullpen. So the Flyboys will go lefty-lefty here as Garrett Makowiak looks set to come on out of the bullpen to face P.J. Jones. Diaz exits, responsible for the man on first. The 2-run homer from Ben Tryon earlier this inning gave Kingsport a 4-3 lead. Makowiak looks to hold the Axemen right there on the Flyboys Baseball Network. The Flyboys turn to Garrett Makowiak here with 2 outs in the top of the 6th. Makowiak, the lefty out of Georgia Southern, is on for the first time in 5 days. The lefty last pitched a scoreless inning in the Flyboys' 4-0 win over the Danville Otterbots. But here, Makowiak making his 9th appearance of the season. 5 earned in 8 2/3. 9 hits, 7 walks, 9 strikeouts. He'll face P.J. Jones as the Flyboys opted for a lefty-lefty matchup. A.J. Diaz exits, responsible for the runner on first base. That's Derek Pitts. Here's the pitch to Jones. Up and away. Nearly got past Francisco behind the plate. Makowiak has got the old school set where he brings his hands over his head before coming to rest. An open set, and then an overhand delivery from the left side. Here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss on a breaking ball. Jones well out in front there, and it's 1-1. Derek Pitts still at first base. Mentioned he has good speed. He attempted a steal once before, but Jace Rusine fouled off the pitch, so he had to retreat. Now with a lefty on the mound, it's going to be tough for him to run. Here's the 1-1. Jones takes up and in. Spins out of the way of a breaking ball that never really dropped. Kingsport leading 4-3 on the 2-run homer from Ben Tryon earlier this inning. He hit that off A.J. Diaz. Makowiak is set. Here's the 2-1. Jones takes a breaker at the top of the zone for strike 2. That pitch ended up on the inside corner to the left-handed batter, which when that's coming from a left-handed pitcher, it's tough because it starts at your front hip and then just finds the plate right at the end. Makowiak looking for the strikeout. Here's the 2-2. Swinging a smash toward deep right field. That ball is gone for the second 2-run homer of the inning. Makowiak tried to double up on that high inside breaking ball, and Jones did not miss it that time. Hit it 448 feet to straightaway right field. That's his 4th homer of the year. And Kingsport now leads the Appy League with 24 home runs. Both of the homers they've hit tonight have been smashed to right field. Axemen have now doubled up the Flyboys at 6-3. College hitters are good enough to where if you try to throw the same pitch in the same spot twice, you're probably not going to get away with it. Jones was fooled by the first one, but not by the second. Phoenix McFarland takes a strike. And that's where the Flyboys getting picked off to end the last inning, leaving the bases loaded twice, that's where it comes back to bite you. Kingsport is so good offensively that eventually the Axemen are going to make you pay for those sorts of things. McFarland takes low and away, and it's 1-1. That's Jones' 4th homer of the year. RBIs numbers 17 and 18 for him. Talked about it. The batting average is low, but he still finds ways to impact games very positively. Makowiak misses high, and it's 2-1. But that is tied for the longest home run hit at Pioneer Park this season. Jose Fernandez of Johnson City also hit one 448 feet. That was to left center. McFarland checks his swing on a pitch in the dirt. He went around. So the count is now 2-2 on the right-handed batter. But it's interesting that the 2 longest homers at Pioneer Park have been hit by the opposition. Flyboys, they don't usually give up homers like that. 4 runs have scored in this inning, a pair of 2-run bombs for Kingsport. 2-2 on McFarland. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball misses low from Makowiak, and it's 3-2. Now it feels like Kingsport is much more in control of this game. That said, the Flyboys have had a couple gritty, tough wins against these Axemen here at Pioneer Park already. 3-2, low. So Makowiak issues the 2-out walk to McFarland. All of this trouble coming after A.J. Diaz struck out back-to-back batters and then was pulled. The homer from Jones and now the walk to McFarland. Peyton Miller goes to the mound, the Flyboys' 3rd baseman. He'll have a word with Makowiak before Alex Kelsey steps to the plate. Kelsey is the 8th man to hit in the top of this 6th inning. Kingsport leading 6-3. Only 2 extra base hits in this game, both of them 2-run homers by the Axemen. So yeah, they've made it count. Flyboys still out hitting Kingsport 6-5, but unfortunately that doesn't do a whole lot of good at this juncture. Here's the pitch to Kelsey. In the dirt, it gets past Francisco, and McFarland is off to second base. Not the start to the relief appearance that Makowiak was looking for. Home run, walk, wild pitch. Francisco wants a new baseball. He tosses that one toward the Flyboys' first base dugout. Greenville has hit kind of a tough stretch. 4-6 over its last 10 games entering tonight. That is the worst 10-game stretch of the season for the Flyboys, believe it or not. Which, I mean, that speaks to how good they've been for most of the season. But ever since they beat Pulaski to improve to 14-6, or 14-9, I don't remember exactly what it was. It was 14-6. That was back on July 1st, or in late June, and then they got swept by Johnson City beginning on July 1st. But 14-6 to 18-13. 1-0 to Kelsey is a broken bat, soft liner up the middle. Shortstop Patton up with it. Sidearm throw across. Gets Kelsey, and that's the inning. But Kingsport scores 4 times, a pair of 2-run homers. One from P.J. Jones, one from Ben Tryon. And as we go to the bottom of the 6th, Kingsport leads Greenville 6-3 on the Flyboys Baseball Network. The last time T.J. Adams was in the batter's box, the Flyboys had a 3-2 lead. Kingsport now leads Greenville 6-3 as we begin the bottom of inning number 6. Adams will be followed by Tyler Inge and Reed Hare, facing the right-handed reliever Caleb Townsend. He delivers. Swinging a foul tip at home plate. That got a piece of Jace Rusine, the catcher. He is down on all fours. I think that one hit him on the ankle, so he'll try to walk it off. But Kingsport in the 6th inning sent 8 to the plate, scored 4 times. Couple 2-run homers, one from Ben Tryon, one from P.J. Jones. The Axemen have doubled up Greenville, even though the Flyboys are out hitting them 6-5. Flyboys have had multiple base runners in 3 separate innings. Haven't done as much damage as they could have, and that's the difference in this game. Here's the 1-1. Adams hits a chopper to the left side. Backing up is Tryon, the third baseman. Low throw is way offline, and Adams is safe. You could see Tryon really drop his elbow on that one. He knew he had to get rid of it quickly, but he yanked the throw up the first base line. P.J. Jones had to come off the bag just to have any chance of keeping that from going into foul territory. So that's a good start for the Flyboys here in the bottom of the 6th, as Kingsport leads 6-3. Adams is aboard for the 2nd time. That is going to be scored a throwing error, charged to Ben Tryon. The 2nd error of the game for Kingsport. Pickoff throw to first. Adams is safe. Caleb Townsend picked off Grant Hunter to end the last inning when T.J. Adams was in the batter's box. So Adams will have to be wary of that pickoff move from the right-hander. Townsend is set. Here's the pitch. Inge takes low. Townsend's velocity is not going to blow you away by any means. Sitting in the mid-80s. Inge, having played a couple years at Michigan, I'm sure has seen, here's another throw to first, no tag. I'm sure has seen higher velocity and live ABs and things of that nature. But sometimes for a guy who's not throwing that hard, it's the spin, the deception, the arm angle that catch you off. Here's the 1-0. Inge hits a smash, caught by Tryon at third, and he throws to first to double off T.J. Adams. Ben Tryon makes up for the throwing error. Tyler Inge hit that one 103 miles an hour, straight into the glove of Ben Tryon. T.J. Adams thought what everyone else did, that was headed for the left field corner. He was halfway between first and second and had no chance to get back. That is unlucky for Tyler Inge. There's no other way to put it. Reed Hare hits with the bases empty and 2 gone. Townsend back in the windup. Hare squares to bunt, pulls back and watches strike 1. So that is a 5-3 double play on the lineout. Off the bat of Tyler Inge. 103 miles an hour straight into the third baseman's glove. Hare takes in the dirt, and it's 1-1. I had something, it wasn't hit that hard, but I remember when I was maybe 12 or 13, we were in some really silly defensive alignment. 1-1 to Hare is chopped to the right side. P.J. Jones is positioned perfectly. Hare's gone, and that's the inning. 2 atom balls robbed the Flyboys of what easily could have been 2 extra base hits. But if I had 2 wheels, I'd be a bicycle. On to the 7th inning we go. Kingsport leads 6-3 on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Flyboys go back to the bullpen as we begin the top of the 7th. Greenville trailing Kingsport 6-3. Nick Rodecap with you here on the Flyboys Baseball Network. The Flyboys turn to Evan Kay, the right-hander out of Stony Brook. He replaces Garrett McCowiak, who recorded just 1 out in the 6th inning. It was the final out, but not before Kingsport added a 2-run homer from P.J. Jones. He faces the top of the Axemen order. First pitch to the left-handed batter, Colin Larson, is inside. Looks like he tried to lean into that breaking ball, but it's 1-0. Kay, the right-hander, going from the windup here. The 1-0 pitch to Larson. Swing and a miss. Chased an outside fastball, and it's 1-1. The Axemen scored 4 times in the 6th. A couple 2-run homers for them to open up the first multi-run lead for either team in this game. Larson breaks his bat, hits a slow roller to second. Inge fields from a backhand. He throws out Colin Larson. Larson entered this game with an on-base percentage of .504, and he is 0 for 4 tonight. I don't know that that's going to happen again. But Kay got him to break his bat on a changeup there. Mason Swinney stepping in now, and this is the part of the order that nobody's going to want to face for the Flyboys for the rest of the night. Swinney has reached twice, and the man on deck is really who you've got to be worried about. Swinney takes outside. Ben Tryon, who is on deck, has all 4 of Kingsport's RBIs in this game. Both of them go-ahead hits, the homer last inning and a 2-run single in the 3rd. 1-0 fastball misses inside from Evan Kay. And if Kay can retire Swinney, then you can at least limit the damage that Tryon can do. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Swinney hits a high fly ball toward deep right field. TJ Adams has a beat on it, deep in the gap, backpedaling onto the warning track. He makes the catch. And Swinney's gone. Flyboys trailing 6-3, 2 outs in the top of the 7th. Base is empty for Ben Tryon. A homer, a base hit, 4 of 6 RBIs now in this game after the second 2-run homer in the 6th from P.J. Jones. But Tryon, with that homer last inning, had each of the first 4 RBIs for the Axemen, single-handedly outscoring all of Greenville. Tryon takes a backdoor breaking ball for a strike. Tryon has been swinging it almost perfectly here tonight. Here's the 0-1. He gets hit on the leg, shovels the bat toward the third base dugout. I guess that's one way to avoid having to face him. I don't know that Evan Kay was trying to do that, though. 2-out base runner for Derek Pitts. Kay looking for a shutdown inning just to keep the Flyboys within striking distance. But they got very unlucky in the 6th. Tyler Inge hit at 103 miles an hour right to the third baseman, who doubled off TJ Adams, the leadoff base runner. And then Reed Hare hit another Adam ball to first base to end the inning. Derek Pitts stepping in from the right side. He hits one foul straight at the Flyboys' first base dugout. Everybody's okay. That ball hits the brick and ends up in fair territory. Pitts, the designated hitter tonight. We'll probably see him in the outfield tomorrow. Usually he patrols center and does it quite well. Pitts hitless in 3 trips, a couple walks and a run scored. Here's the 0-1. Pitts takes up and away. Shuffling his feet in the batter's box there. But the winner of this game, mentioned, will take sole possession of first place in the Appy League West. This is a rematch, another rematch here at Pioneer Park of last year's semifinal. 1-1. Pitts takes outside. The Flyboys and the Axemen have split each of their first 4 meetings this season. Greenville hosting Kingsport for every game. For whatever reason, the Flyboys do not go to Kingsport this season. Very strange, and I don't know why. 2-1. Here's the pitch. Pitts takes inside. It's not a situation like Bristol where Kingsport doesn't have a ballpark. They most certainly do. The Axemen hit much better at home than they do on the road. With an OPS over 900 at home, but under 800 on the road. Haven't had any trouble swinging it here at Pioneer Park tonight. 3-1 to Pitts is a check swing foul ball toward first. And I would say that it feels like eventually the Flyboys are going to break through, but they've had their chances, and Kingsport has done a good job of limiting the amount of damage the Flyboys can do. Full count, 2 outs. Tryon will take off from first base on the pitch. K is set, and the runner goes. Fastball just low for ball 4. That didn't miss by much, if at all. That was right at the knees. Strike zone box has it about 3 inches below the bottom of the zone. But that pitch has been called a strike tonight. So you go from potentially an inning-ending strikeout to now men at first and second for Landis Davila. Davila on the season, an on-base percentage of .380, but he's 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts tonight. Looking to avoid the dreaded sombrero. Here's the pitch. Davila takes low and away. And a hitter in this spot, you've got a chance to add to your team's lead. It's cliche, but you've got to forget about everything that's happened to you so far, because you can very quickly flush those strikeouts from your memory if you can deliver some insurance for your team. Left-handed batter waiting. Here's the 1-0. There's a smash toward deep right field. Did they just do it again? Adam towards the corner. It's off his glove. And into the corner it goes. Both runners score. Davila's on his way to third with a 2-run Little League triple. That ball hit the heel of TJ Adams' glove near the right field corner. It deflected off his glove and into the corner in foul territory. With the runners off on contact, they were always going to score. Kingsport is now pushing this game out of reach. It's 8-3. And now how big is that 2-strike call that probably should have been strike 3, but instead ended up being ball 4? That allowed Derek Pitts to reach and extend the inning for Davila. No RBIs for him. That's an error. Swing and a miss. Strike 1 to Rusine. But that is the kind of moment that may have just decided this game with the way Kingsport is pitching it right now. Here's the 0-1 to Rusine. He takes outside. Rusine, a switch hitter batting left. Also 0 for 3. But those are the kinds of plays that you just want to forget as a fielder. And I've had it happen to me before where you think you have the ball read perfectly and you just don't make the play. 1-1 to Rusine, hit in the air to right center field. Reed Hare is camped under it, and he squeezes the leather to end the inning. But a tough break for Evan Kay. Blown strike 3 call turned 2-run fielding error, and at stretch time, it's 8-3 Kingsport on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Welcome back to Pioneer Park, where the Kingsport Axemen have opened up an 8-3 lead on the Flyboys. As we begin the bottom of inning number 7, new left-hander on out of the bullpen for Kingsport is Liam McCallum. One of a few Australians in the Appy League. McCallum is a native of Sydney. And I think we found one of the only guys in this league who is older than me, because he was born in 2002, and I was not. Jace Patton will be followed by Ezra McNaughton and Lane Akers. 2-3-4 for the Flyboys, but they've got a mountain to climb here. The Axemen added a pair of unearned runs in the 7th inning, as Evan Kay, once again, did not get any help from his defense. First pitch to Patton, misses low from the lefty McCallum. If you go back to Evan Kay's last appearance, that was in Burlington. He gave up 4 unearned runs there as well after back-to-back 2-out errors. Here tonight, he gave up 2 unearned runs after a 2-out error. So Evan Kay is probably feeling like a man on an island right now. An island where the surface is sinking and the water is rising, and oh, by the way, there are sharks outside. It's not a good feeling as a pitcher. Liam McCallum, first lefty used by Kingsport in this game. He's out of Winthrop in North Carolina. Patton takes low and in, and the count is 2-1. Patton, one of 2 Flyboys hitters yet to reach safely in this game. a ground out, a pop out, and a strikeout. So logically, he's due for something to go his way. The 2-1, there's a line drive toward right center field. This ball is headed toward the gap, but it's cut off by Alex Kelsey. He holds Jace Patton to a leadoff single. That's a good start for the Flyboys. But you're going to need more swings like that. Patton let that fastball travel and hit it the other way. Here's Ezra McNaughton. The catcher, Jace Rusine, goes out to have a word with McCallum before he faces McNaughton, probably saying, hey, we can attack this guy because there's no such thing as a 5-run homer that would tie this game. Flyboys trailing 8-3 with the leadoff man aboard in the bottom of the 7th for the home squad. Flyboys kicking off a week-long homestand, looking to get it done on the right foot, but they're going to need a come-from-behind win to do it. Left on left for the first time for McNaughton in this game. Short lead for Patton over at first. Here's the pitch. McNaughton takes a slow curveball for a strike. 70 miles per hour at the knees from McCallum. McNaughton hit a broken bat single up the middle his last time up. Here's the 0-1. McNaughton takes low and away. McCallum tried to double up on the off-speed. Garrett McCowiak tried that a couple innings ago facing P.J. Jones, and it did not go his way. Tried an inside curveball to the left-handed hitter. That was also a left-on-left matchup. Jones took the first one and then hit the second one 450 feet to right field. Maybe McNaughton will do the same thing. Patton is being shadowed by P.J. Jones. Here's the pitch to McNaughton. There's a sharp line drive, foul toward first. Jones is shadowing Patton, but is not holding him on the base. He's creeping into the base path behind the runner after he takes his lead. But with Kingsport leading by 5, there's no real reason to sweat it too much. You want to be in position to field anything over there. Here's the 1-2. McNaughton takes strike 3. Fastball right at the knees. That's the same pitch that Evan Kay did not get the call on. So that's a curious decision by Zach Bloom. You don't see Ezra McNaughton strike out looking very much. Rick Adair making the very quick walk out of the third base dugout, which means he's going to get Liam McCallum. So McCallum retires McNaughton, which was the job he needed to do, with some help from Zach Bloom, because if Evan Kay would have gotten that call, then this game would still be 6-3. Kingsport back to the bullpen, leading 8-3, with a man aboard and 1 away in the bottom of the 7th on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Kingsport goes left on left to retire Ezra McNaughton and then goes back to the bullpen, calling upon the right-hander Liam McCallum. McCallum, a right-handed pitcher. Or not McCallum, I should say. Sorry, Peyton Armour. Liam McCallum was the lefty that they called on to retire McNaughton. He got him looking on a fastball at the knees. He's replaced by Peyton Armour, a Tennessee native from a lot closer to here than Sydney, Australia is. But Peyton Armour facing the Flyboys for the second time this season. This is his 11th appearance overall. Another great reliever in this Kingsport bullpen. Kingsport has one of the best pitching staffs in the league. Led the league with a 4.47 team ERA entering tonight, which as it stands would drop by a little bit if the result holds. Axman leading 8-3. Patton aboard at first, 1 gone in the bottom of the 7th. Lane Akers digging in. He takes low and in from Peyton Armour. Armour has a 2.8 ERA in 9 2/3. 10 walks, 13 strikeouts. He's also given up 10 hits. Armour out of Lincoln Memorial in Tennessee. 41 innings over 2 years there. Pickoff move to first, and Patton dives back in safely. The Flyboys led 1-0 in the second after an RBI single from T.J. Adams. Kingsport responded with 2 in the top of the 3rd on a knock from Ben Tryon. Here's the 1-0. Akers hits a blooper past the second baseman McFarland into right field. Caught that off the end of the bat. But Akers has himself an opposite field knock. Both of the Flyboys' hits in this inning have been the other way. Jace Patton moves up to second. And now here's Brady Francisco stepping in. Francisco has a base hit in this game. So the Flyboys then took a 3-2 lead on a 2-run single from Grant Hunter. Kingsport responded with a pair of 2-run homers in the 6th. So each time the Flyboys have scored, Kingsport has answered by taking back the lead in the next half inning. Francisco digs in. Here's the pitch. Swinging a high pop-up. Shallow right center field. McFarland drifts under it. Infield fly is in effect, and Francisco is gone. Two on, two out for Peyton Miller. The good news is for the Flyboys that Miller has reached all 3 times. Worked a 2-out walk his last time up. That was right before Grant Hunter drove in. Both he and Ezra McNaughton. See if maybe the same thing happens here. With the Flyboys trailing 8-3, 2 out in the 7th, you're thinking, okay, scoring opportunities are going to be few and far between for the rest of this game. You're running out of outs to work with. Peyton Miller takes a strike at the knees from the right-hander Peyton Armour. These guys spell their first names 2 different ways. Peyton Armour with an A after the capital P. Peyton Miller with an E. 0-1. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball pulled into shallow left field. This ball is down for a base hit. Patton was off on contact. Here comes the throw to the plate. It is offline and late. Patton dives across home plate safely. And Greenville gets one back as Peyton Miller picks up his 3rd hit of the game. It's now 8-4 in the 7th. Peyton Miller has really started swinging it better as of late. Finding a way to get on base and put bat on ball a lot more than he was at the start of the season, which is good to see. Miller's got his 15th RBI of the campaign. Here's Grant Hunter once again. Had a 2-run single with 2 outs his last time up. Miller at first, Akers now at second. Flyboys trailing by 4. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Hunter chased a low fastball. So the book is closed on Liam McCallum. That leadoff single he surrendered came around to score. An inning and a third, a run, a hit, and a strikeout. Here's the 0-1. Hunter takes low and away. Rusine leaning to his backhand there to keep that from getting to the backstop. But Kingsport pulling out all the stops. The Axemen know how crucial of a series this is. This is already the 5th different pitcher they've used in this game. Here's the 1-1. Hunter takes low again. Ronan Vicente, the starter, went just 3 innings. 4 hits, 4 walks, but he only gave up 1 run. Burton Rawlings, 2 runs in an inning and 2/3. Caleb Townsend, 4 outs without allowing a run. And then McCallum started this inning. Leadoff single, and then he retired Ezra McNaughton. 2-1 to Hunter. Popped up behind home plate on the first base side. This ball drifts out of play. And a fan barehands it on a deflection in the upper part of the seating bowl. So 2-2 on Hunter now. And you're just hoping that he can extend this inning. Again, the Flyboys have left the bases loaded twice in this game. But an unlucky line-out turned double play last inning, a pickoff to end the 5th, and a caught stealing in the 4th. So some outs left on the base pads, giving Kingsport some easy ways to escape trouble. Here's the 2-2. Hunter checks his swing on a pitch in the dirt. Oh, I think the Flyboys just caught a break. Kingsport thought he went around. To be honest, I did too. But with the field umpire stationed behind the mound, since there are men on base, you really can't appeal that. That was a slider in the dirt. I think Hunter just got new life. First and second, full count with 2 outs, so both men will go on the pitch. Base hit scores them both. Armour looking for what he believes is strike 4. Here's the pitch. Hunter takes low and outside, and the bases are loaded. Armour tried to double up on that low and away slider, but Hunter laid off. So now the bases are loaded for TJ Adams.
Number 19, TJ Adams.
Adams will hit with the bases loaded for the second time in as many games. Big spot here with the Flyboys trailing by 4. Here's the pitch. Adams hits a high chopper foul to the left side. Adams hitting, I should say, for the second time in this game with the bases loaded. Last time was in the third. He flew out to right field. See if he can put a charge into one here. The 0-1 pitch. Adams swings and misses at a breaking ball, and it's quickly 0-2. Armour started him out with a fastball at the knees, and then the slider ending up in the same spot. Strike away from stranding the bases loaded for the third time in 7 innings. Here's the 0-2. Adams hits a tapper back to the mound. Armour is up with it, runs it over. Underhand flip to first is in time, and that's the inning. The Flyboys have left the bases loaded 3 times tonight. Kingsport walking on a tightrope, but somehow escaping serious trouble once again. And as we go to the 8th, Kingsport leads 8-4 on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Top of the 8th here in Greenville, Pioneer Park, the site of the Flyboys' next 6 games. Kingsport, though, looking to play spoiler on opening night of the homestand. The Axemen lead 8-4. Evan Kay still on the mound for the Flyboys. First pitch to P.J. Jones. Off speed, that misses upstairs to the left-handed batter. Evan Kay, the right-handed reliever, allowed a couple unearned runs last inning after a 2-out error in right field. Here's the 1-0. Jones swings and misses at a fastball. But Kingsport has done exactly what you look to do, which is respond every time you get hit as the visiting team. Jones hits a foul ball toward third base and out of play. But the first 2 times the Flyboys scored, Kingsport immediately responded. The Flyboys led 1-0 after 2. Kingsport scored 2 in the top of the third to take the lead. Flyboys retook the lead in the 5th. Kingsport then scored 6 unanswered runs over the next 2 innings. 1-2 on Jones. Here's the pitch from Kay. Fastball misses outside. Flyboys got 1 back in the bottom of the 7th, but left more on the table. Greenville has left the bases loaded 3 times tonight, and that's one of the key differences in this game is that Kingsport has left just 4 runners on base. Jones takes downstairs, and it's 3-2. He hit a towering 2-run homer to right field, part of that 4-run 6th inning for the Axemen. 448 feet to straightaway right field. Kay looking to retire him to start the 8th. Here's the payoff pitch. Jones fouls it back. That one, I think, got a piece of Brady Francisco, but I'm not sure. Beyond right field is where the Flyboys and Tusculum, by association, store the batting practice equipment, the netting, both the turtle and the protective netting that they put in the field as well. That ball, I think, cleared all of it. Another 3-2 to Jones. Here's another high fly ball to deep right field. Adams back at the wall, feeling for the wall, has enough room to make the catch. Jones just got under that one a little too much. Didn't miss his second homer in as many at-bats by all that much. Leadoff man gone. Kingsport leading 8-4 here in the top of the 8th, and the batter is Phoenix McFarland. McFarland singled and scored on the 2-run single from Ben Tryon back in the 3rd. Looking elsewhere around the Appy League, Burlington run rules Bristol. The Sock Puppets winning 11-0, holding Bristol to just 3 hits. So that's back-to-back shutouts for Burlington pitching. McFarland swings and misses at a breaking ball, and it's 0-1. Burlington beat the Flyboys 4-0 in 7 innings on Sunday. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball tapped to the mound. Kay leaping, can't get it. Tyler Inge charges, throws on the run from second base to retire McFarland, hustling up the first base line. It's a great defensive play by Tyler Inge. Kay leapt to try to grab that one to his left. Couldn't do it, but Tyler Inge was alertly sprinting in from his second base position. Fielded and made a sidearm throw in one motion for the second out of the inning. Now here's Alex Kelsey. Left-handed batter facing the righty Kay. Here's the pitch. Kelsey hits a pop fly foul over the third base dugout. So Burlington, over its last 2 games, has allowed 6 hits and shut out both of its opponents, Bristol and, of course, the Flyboys, on Sunday. Here's the 0-1. Kelsey takes low. Kay tried to change up there. The Danville Otterbots defeating Elizabethton 4-1 in E-Town. So the winner of this game will be 5 games up on third place. Here's the 1-1. Kelsey takes an outside strike. And again, that's why I say I think the winner of this series, if there is one, will likely be the top seed in the West. Here's the 1-2. Kelsey takes in the dirt from Evan Kay. Pulaski and Johnson City were rained out, and we've gotten to a point in the season now where teams are facing each other likely for the last time, so that game will not be made up. 2-2 on Kelsey. Here's the pitch. Kelsey takes outside. Kay misses with the fastball, and the count is full. Bluefield in a tough spot. First place Ridge Runners leading Tri-State 2-0 in the bottom of the 9th, but Tri-State has first and second with 1 away. Evan Mobley, the closer, is on for Bluefield. Here's the 3-2. Kelsey hits a sharp line drive past the dive of Tyler Inge into right field. That's a seeing eye 2-out single for Kelsey. Second hit of the game for the number 9 hitter.
Now batting number 25, Colin Larson.
Now here's a guy who's due. Colin Larson, 0 for 4 tonight. One of the best leadoff men in the Appy League. Hitting over 300, OPS over 1,000 entering tonight. But he's 0 for 4. 2 ground outs, a strikeout, and a pop out. Logic says that he's going to reach here because he's too good to go 0 for 5, but we'll see. He's facing Evan Kay for the second time. Grounded out the last time he faced him. Here's the pitch. Fastball misses inside from the righty. Larson, one of 5 left-handed hitters in this Kingsport lineup. They alternate 1 through 9. And that's great lineup construction by Rick Adair when you have the ability to do that. Here's the 1-0. Larson takes outside. That pitch was on the plate, but Kay did not get the call. Brady Francisco wants to have a word with him. Kay has not gotten a couple borderline pitches that I think should have been called strikes. Both of the pitches in this at-bat could have been called strikes, and we've seen them called tonight. I was talking to Dylan Jackson about that after the Flyboys series opener in Burlington, which they won 17-5. But Jackson said, he echoed the sentiment that I have put out on the broadcast, which is that players are okay with an umpire as long as he's consistent. But Zach Bloom behind the plate tonight has not been consistent. And that's where you start to draw the ire of players on both sides when the strike zone is not consistently enforced. The 2-0 to Larson misses away, and that's ball 3. Because when it's consistent, then you can adjust. Oh, he's calling the low strike. Or, okay, I'm not getting anything on the inside part of the plate, so let me go somewhere else. But if it's just kind of haphazard, then nobody knows what to do in a given situation. Here's the 3-0. Larson takes a strike. Fastball, a little bit closer to the outside part of the plate, but that was almost in the same spot as the pitch that Kay did not get the call on 2-0. Kelsey has a short lead over at first. Here's the 3-1. Runner goes. The pitch is swung on and missed. No throw from Brady Francisco. Kelsey steals his second base of the game. But now the count is 3-2 on Colin Larson. That maybe scored defensive indifference. Either way, man at second. Credit Kelsey with his 8th stolen base of the year. Here's the payoff. Larson hits a sharp ground ball, foul past first. Flyboys trailing Kingsport 8-4. 2 outs, man at second here in the top of the 8th. Greenville will have 9-1-2 coming up in the bottom of this frame. Needing another late rally to beat the Axemen. Teams have split the first 4 games of this season series. Here's the 3-2. Larson takes in the dirt, and he's aboard for the first time tonight. So Mason Swinney will step to the plate as Kay issues his second walk in an inning and 2/3 of relief. Swinney out of Dallas Baptist has reached a couple times. A couple walks for him. One of a few two-way players on this roster. Kay is set. Here's the pitch. Swinney takes a high strike. Started backing off the plate thinking that fastball was inside. But Zach Bloom called it, and it's 0-1. First and second, 2 gone. A chance for Kingsport to add to its 4-run lead. Kay comes back. Breaking ball fouled back to the screen. Swinney a little bit out in front there, and it's 0-2. Flyboys have a right-hander up in the bullpen, so it looks like Kay will be done after the 8th, but we'll see. Kay usually is good for an inning or 2. He's been good this season. Just the 2 unearned runs for him tonight. He's become one of the guys that the Flyboys can count on. Here's another 0-2. Swinney takes outside. That was a ball off the plate, but we've seen that pitch called tonight as well. Evan Kay not getting any favors, I'll put it that way. And against a lineup as good as Kingsport, if you're not getting those pitches called on the edges, then you might be in for a long evening. Kay looks at second. Here's the 1-2. The runners go. It's outside. Francisco throw down to third. Leaping tag from Miller is just late. That was a close play over at third base. Kelsey has swiped 3 bags tonight. He is now 9 for 13. He entered tonight 6 for 10. Larson swipes his league-leading 17th base of the season on the tail end of that double steal. He has now passed Micah Jordan for the most stolen bases in the Appy League. 2 in scoring position for Swinney. Kay is ready. Here's the pitch. Swinney takes outside, and it's 3-2. All the trouble for Evan Kay has come with 2 outs. 2 unearned runs last inning with 2 outs. Now a 2-out single followed by a walk, and the double steal moving both men into scoring position. Larson at second, Kelsey at third. Full count on Swinney. Here's the pitch. Swinging a high fly ball to right field. TJ Adams ranging back. Just in front of the track, he waits on it and makes the catch to end the inning. Kay strands a pair in a scoreless top of the 8th. The Flyboys need a rally, down to their final 6 outs, trailing 8-4 to Kingsport on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Bottom of the 8th inning here at Pioneer Park, where the Greenville Flyboys trail Kingsport 8-4. It'll be 9-1-2 in the Flyboys order due up, facing Peyton Armour. Armour, the right-hander, got the final 2 outs in the 7th inning. It'll be Tyler Inge, Reed Hare, and Jace Patton due up here. Armour, the righty, fires, and Inge takes a strike at the knees. Flyboys and the Axemen will be back out here tomorrow at 7 to conclude this 2-game series. Armour delivers. Inge hits a high chopper right back up the middle. That is off the second base bag, through into center field. So Tyler Inge has a leadoff single. And go figure that that's the ball that gets through after he lined into a double play his last time up. The double play, that was off the bat at 103 miles an hour. That one straight into the ground at 36 miles per hour, but it gets through. Baseball is a silly game sometimes. Reed Hare stepping to the plate now for Greenville. Hitless in 4 trips. Unusual for him. His OPS over 900. Top 5 in the Appy League in RBIs entering tonight is Reed Hare. Here's the pitch. Before the pitch, a throw over to first. Tyler Inge was barely off the base. Armour doesn't really throw it very hard over there to first. He is very deliberate with his pickoff move. Inge about a 3-step lead now. Here's the pitch. Hare hits a ground ball to second, might be 2 to the shortstop Swinney for 1, on to first. That's a double play. Leadoff single is erased. Scored 4-6-3, and that's the kind of night it's been for the Flyboys offensively. Close play at first with Hare's speed, but I think that the throw got him by about a step. 2 quick outs in the 8th. And here's Jace Patton now. Flyboys down to their final 4 outs. Credit to Kingsport. The Axemen will play every game against the Flyboys this season on the road. First pitch to Patton. Just off the outside corner, says Zach Bloom. That looked like a strike. I'm not just going to go full homer and say the Flyboys deserve to have a different strike zone. It's been inconsistent across the board tonight. I don't think either team is going to be particularly happy with it. 1-0 on Patton. Armour, the wind in the pitch. Slow breaking ball, fouled over the first base dugout. That ground ball turned double play off the bat of Reed Hare was 84 off the bat, but did not get through after the 35-mile-per-hour worm burner did from Tyler Inge. Just goes to show that every time somebody has a hit streak that's up to 15 or 20 games, 1-1, way outside as Armour yanked a breaking ball. Every time you see a guy with a hitting streak of 15 or 20 games, it's that much more impressive just because of the random nature of baseball and how sometimes you can do everything right and still fail. 2-1, here's the pitch. Patton takes a low strike, fastball at the knees. That's what makes Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak irreplicable. That will never happen again. Pitchers are too good now at the major league level. 2-2, here it comes. Breaking ball misses inside. Gets away from the catcher, but the bases are empty, so it doesn't matter. Full count, 2 outs. Kingsport leading 8-4 in the 8th. Jace Patton waits on, Ezra McNaughton waits on deck. If Patton can reach, McNaughton will come to the dish. But you think about other improbable runs in baseball. One that just concluded about a month ago. 3-2 on Patton. Here's the payoff. Breaking ball misses inside, and that's ball 4. Second walk issued by Peyton Armour. So here's McNaughton. And again, the fortunate thing, before McNaughton steps to the plate, Rick Adair comes out of the third base dugout. Kingsport will use its 6th pitcher of the night, which is not normal for the Appy League. But when you're facing the league's best hitter, you want to make sure he does as little to harm you as possible. So before McNaughton steps to the plate, we will have a pitching change. Flyboys trailing by 4 with 2 gone in the 8th and a man at first on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Ezra McNaughton facing Jackson Downing, right-hander on out of the bullpen. With 2 gone here in the bottom of the 8th, Jace Patton aboard at first after the 2-out walk, as McNaughton takes an outside strike, and it's quickly 0-1 on the left-handed slugger. 1 for 3 tonight for McNaughton. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Fouled back, and it's 0-2. Downing, a right-hander, on for the 9th time this season. 19 innings for him. 7 earned. 15 hits, 12 walks, and 16 strikeouts. He's also hit 3 batters, but he's ahead on McNaughton very quickly. Here's the pitch. McNaughton strikes out on 3 pitches, and that's the inning. So Downing does the job as Kingsport schedules its pitching rotation around the Flyboys' best hitter and neutralizes him effectively. As we go to the 9th, the Axemen lead Greenville 8-4 on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Top of the 9th here in Greenville. Flyboys trailing Kingsport 8-4, despite out-hitting the Axemen 10-6, which I think tells you that the Flyboys have missed a lot of opportunities, whereas the Axemen have not. The man at the plate now is a big reason why. Ben Tryon leading off this inning. Tryon has 4 of Kingsport's 8 RBIs in this game. A 2-run homer in the 6th that, as it stands right now, is not quite the game-deciding hit, but it is a very important hit in the context of this game. P.J. Jones' 2-run homer, which came later on in that 6th inning, is right now the game-winning hit. Axemen have scored 6 times in the previous 3 innings. First pitch of the 9th inning from right-hander Jackson Krakonis is a strike. Krakonis replacing Evan Kay after Kay allowed 2 unearned runs in 2 innings. Krakonis, the right-handed pitcher. Breaking ball hit on the ground to the right side. McNaughton fields, takes it to the bag himself, wins the foot race by a step, and Tryon is gone. Krakonis, the right-hander out of Tallahassee State Community College, looking for an outing to find his footing. He made his debut against Danville in the series finale against the Otterbots late last week. It was a 10-9 game in the top of the 9th the bottom of the 9th when he pitched in Danville. And the Otterbots ended up winning 11-10 on a bases-loaded walk. Here's Derek Pitts, righty-righty. Breaking ball misses low from Krakonis. Pitts has walked 3 times, raising his on-base percentage closer to 500. Scored a pair of runs in this game. Here's the 1-0 from Krakonis. Pitts takes a breaking ball at the knees for a strike. But for the Axemen in this game, 8 runs on 6 hits, a pair of errors, and they've left 6 on base. Krakonis a deep breath, and the 1-1 to Pitts. Swing and a miss on a pitch in the dirt, and it's 1-2. Pitts was well out in front there. For the Flyboys, 4 runs on 10 hits, an error, and they have left 11 on base. Krakonis looking for the strikeout. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swinging a high chopper to the left side. Sliding stop Miller to his feet and in time to first base with a spinning throw. That's one of the best defensive plays of the season by Peyton Miller. He slid, grabbed that ball on a couple of hops, got to his feet quickly, knowing that Derek Pitts is one of the fastest men in the Appy League. Set his sights on first base and uncorked a line drive throw to get Pitts for the second out here in the 9th inning. Landis Davila stepping in, 0 for 4 in this game. Here's the pitch from Krakonis, a breaking ball that misses inside. That is a fantastic defensive play by Peyton Miller over there at third base. One of the best I've seen from anybody in the Appy League this season. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Davila hits a hard ground ball to first, swallowed up on a short hop by McNaughton, and that's the inning. So it's a 1-2-3 top of the 9th for Jackson Krakonis, getting some help from his friends around the infield. Flyboys are going to need some offense. They need 4 to tie and 5 to win in the home half of the 9th and final inning of regulation on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Last of the 9th here in Greenville. Kingsport leading the Flyboys 8-4. Right-hander Jackson Downing looking to seal this one up for the visiting Axemen and lock up this series opener on Tuesday in East Tennessee. Lane Akers digs in, fouls off the first pitch toward Brady Francisco in the on-deck circle. Akers, Francisco, and Peyton Miller due up as the Flyboys look for an improbable 9th inning comeback. 4 to tie, 5 to win. And just 3 outs left to do it. Here's the 0-1 from Downing. Swing and a miss at a fastball at the top of the zone. Downing has a funky arm slot. It's straight over the top. Velocity in the high 80s and a lot of spin on that fastball. But the way he delivers the ball, it almost looks like he's hiding it for an extra tick longer. Here's the 0-2. Swinging a line drive to right, but Alex Kelsey is there. Drifts in toward the line a couple steps, and Akers is gone. It's not quite as over-the-top and deliberate as Tim Lincecum, but when the ball comes out of Downing's hand, now Downing's a right-hander, Lincecum was a lefty, but when the ball comes out of Downing's hand, it almost looks like Tim Lincecum a little bit. Straight over the top, and I don't know what he does with his hand. It's hard to see from here, but it seems to be giving hitters fits. Francisco takes inside. That's not a bad pitch from Downing, just off the high inside corner. But that extra spin on the fastball, he's up around 2,600 RPMs, which is very high for a fastball. Here's the 1-0, outside. That went up to 2,700 RPMs. That's about what you'll see in the majors on a lot of fastballs, some of them not even getting up that high. And what that spin does is it allows the ball to resist the forces of gravity, which makes it harder for a hitter to catch up to. Here's the 0-2, or the 2-0, I should say. Fouled back, and it's 2-1. The more spin there is on a fastball, the more it appears to rise and makes it harder for a hitter to barrel it up. So 2-1 on Francisco here. And Downing comes back. Francisco brushed off the plate by the fastball, just inside, and it's 3-1. Base is empty, one gone in the bottom of the ninth. Kingsport leading Greenville 8-4. Downing back on the rubber. Here's the 3-1. Francisco swings through a high fastball. Downing is keeping that heater in the upper part of the zone, which is exactly what you want to do with a high spin fastball like that. Keep it above where the hitter can swing down on it and really do some damage. Here's the 3-2. Upstairs, and that's ball 4. Flyboys are going to need more of that. Here's Peyton Miller. The right guy to keep this game going. Miller has reached all 4 times. 3 hits, a walk, an RBI, and a run scored for Miller. And you're hoping that he can just keep the line moving here. Francisco being shadowed by the first baseman, but not really held on over there. The pitch. Fastball for a strike on the low outside corner. But it's not the velocity that gets you at Downing, it's the spin rate. And again, the more spin there is, generally, this isn't always true, but generally the harder it is to hit. Here's the 0-1. Miller hits a soft liner up the middle. This might be another double play. 2-1, on for first, safe. Phoenix McFarland, the second baseman, had to wait on that one a little bit. It was a soft liner. He fielded it on a hop. Flipped to Mason Swinney to get Francisco, but Miller hustles it out. So scored a 4-6 fielder's choice. And now the last chance for Greenville in this game is Grant Hunter. Miller swaps places with Francisco. Hunter had a 2-run single back in the 5th. Here's the pitch from Downing. Hunter hits a chopper to third. It's past Tryon into left field. Miller's thinking of going first to third. Here's the throw. The tag from Tryon is just late, and Miller slides in there safely. That was a very risky play by Peyton Miller going first to third on that. That play happened right in front of the Kingsport dugout, and the Axemen all had their hands on their heads, thinking that Miller was out and the game was over. But credit Grant Hunter with his second hit of the game. Ben Tryon retreated on that ball and tried to sort of stab at it with his forehand, but could not get any leather on it. On the play, Hunter moves up to second. From the windup, here's the pitch to TJ Adams. Swung on and missed. So second and third, 2 out. Flyboys trailing 8-4 in the bottom of the 9th. Downing, if he can retire Adams, will end the game. Here's the pitch. Outside. If Adams can reach, then the tying run would come to the plate. But of course, it would still be with 2 outs. 1-1. Here's the pitch. Adams hits a line drive toward the left field corner. Larson started in, ranging over, diving, and making the catch to end the game. That was headed toward the corner. It looked like it was going to be a 2-run base hit for TJ Adams. Colin Larson makes a diving catch just in front of the 331-foot sign, launches the ball into the trees beyond the outfield wall, and the Kingsport Axemen win this ball game by a final score of 8-4. A lot of bad luck for the Flyboys, a lot of missed opportunities, but they've got to re-rack and go again tomorrow. The Axemen now have sole possession of first place in the Appy League West. They improved to 20-14 on the season. The Flyboys, 18-14, drop into second place for the first time in a long time. Kingsport winning this game 8-4. A pair of home runs in the 6th inning, the difference in the end. A 2-run homer from Ben Tryon, and then what went on to be the game-winning hit, the 2-run homer from P.J. Jones in the 6th inning to seal it.